Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great evening today. I mean, we are broadcasting live from the USA and out of New Orleans. So, I hope everybody in the United States is having a good time. We had a lot of news to cross tonight. And by the way, we hope the whole world's doing well because we do have a worldwide audience. But there's a lot of news in the United States right now that needs to be dealt with and covered and talked about and discussed and covered. And hopefully something good comes out of it other than the shit that's been going on lately. So we'll be getting that to just a minute. I have Jay McNichols with us tonight. He hosts over there with Church of Mavis and the Madman Jeffrey Pritchett. I have Michael Angley, who is hosting Discovery Paranormal and Red Pill News. So we're just going to kind of get into the news. Yes, we're gonna. So the first thing we're going to talk about before we even talk about Humpty Trumpty is why can't Joe Biden get off of a plane or a helicopter without some incident? So this scares me.
Old man.
I know, but this no. I know old people that can get in and out of cars and buses and planes without doing.
He's got cognitive
It's every day, man.
I
mean, look, somebody needs to take better care of this man. This guy's gonna get hurt by just. I mean, first off, he trips out of one plane, falls down the stairs, trips out of a helicopter, falls down out of the helicopter, misses the chair. He's got to have his jacket put on by his wife. I mean, it worries me. So what makes me even worse is it makes me wonder who the hell is really running the country. I mean, when you see stuff like just what happened raiding the president's home, you got to wonder who the hell is running the country. It makes me nervous.
There's the reincarnation of Gerald Ford.
They're willing to go anywhere and as low as they could possibly go. It's beyond politics. This is agenda versus agenda, and the liberal agenda is really off to tilt the world. I mean, years ago, they were just kind of the extreme liberals were the ones in the corner of the room talking about communism or whatever. Nobody ever paid them any attention. You kind of laughed it off or whatever. Now it's become the forefront because the main party used it against Trump and used that violent attitude. They used the burning down police stations and all the other things that they've done, And but if you just write down everything that they allege, everything that they say, like black neighborhoods are unsafe because of police officers. It's like one of the dumbest possible things you could ever say. I mean,
but that is the liberal party.
I was watching a clip from CNN. I was watching a clip from CNN. There was a black woman on there, talking about how these white shooters, how the white people out there should take responsibility for these white shooters. And I'm thinking, like, first of all these mass shooters weren't white. Second of all, is she saying that then black people should take on the responsibility for all the crimes? There's 12% black people in the U.S. They commit 54% of the crimes, FBI statistics. Should they take that on? Because something's got to break. Something's got to break. And now you have random crimes against a lot of white people. That's happening. If you say anything about it, you're labeled a racist. I'm saying things because I don't care. I know that I'm not. So people people have labeled me before. I've been attacked before by local politicians in Ithaca. A black woman who was handicapped, and she was in Common Council, and she didn't ever go to the Common Council meetings, so she didn't vote in those meetings. So I went on TV saying, if you don't want your job, give it up to somebody who will do it. She represented the second ward, a lot of poor people there. Oh, man, she went on this other person's shows, and I don't know why he doesn't like me, maybe because I'm black or because I'm a woman or because I'm handicapped. She played all the cards. But you know what she did? She pissed people off because they heard that. And they heard what I said, and they were like, this is the problem with our politics, man.
Rant over. But no, there's nothing wrong with rant over. I mean, it's helpful. We're taking that damn thing away from you. Where's the damn mute button? I'm having
that
mute
thing
button.
down. Well, you're gonna poke out an eye.
No more drugs for Michael. That's what happens when you have too much coffee late at night, people. You got to remember he's an
damn Chinese done sold me a soundboard.
I know, man. That's Xi Jinping's way of getting even with us, man. Give Michael a damn soundboard.
He's probably.
I don't know if something's, but I mean something's got to change. I mean, we can't keep going this way. The country's not going to keep putting up with it. I've been noticed now. I got Democrat friends that are just fleeing their party by big numbers. I mean, last they said there was 2, now it's almost 3 million they've lost, and then they're losing people of independence. It's just they're in trouble, and they don't want to admit it. We're going to win in 2024. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think how bad it gets for Republicans. I still don't think you're going to win in November.
You think we're going to make it? You think we're going to make it one piece? The 2024.
No, we'll make it to 2024. I'm not worried about that part. Look, even as bloods and gores in the streets, you know, I don't know what kind of country we'll be living in, but I don't think it'll be much different than it is right now. The problem is
you know what?
unless
what's going
unless
on
something goes crazy with this Trump thing, and then I don't know.
If you're at a 4th of July parade and you get shot to death by some freak, or if you're shopping in the supermarket, or if you're just walking anywhere in the subway or whatever, someone decides to kill you because of the way you look or whatever, man, this is where we're at. And it's interesting that it's come full circle, because like the 70s in New York City were very similar. But I'll tell you the difference. The difference is it wasn't personal. It was like back then, if there was violence, there was a reason for it. It wasn't as random. Now it's random attacks. So we're in trouble.
Well, you got a lot of random attacks, but you know what, Mike? There are a lot of random attacks, but I think some of these random attacks are not as random as they seem. I really do. I've been noticing lately there's some patterns and stuff. And then how come every time a Democrat gets in office, violence goes up in our country? People, you don't have to take me for my word for it. You can go look it up for the stats for yourself. The United States usually doubles the amount of crime under the Democrats and under the Republicans. Why is that? What does that tell us? We keep putting the wrong party in office, is what it tells me.
They've been fostering violence for a long time. For a long time, you know what I mean? And now they've got the media. They have control of the media. They have control of Hollywood. You see a raid on Trump. You don't see a raid on Epstein's buddies there, or Maxwell's buddies. Or even Hunter Biden, who's a huge.
But Mike, think about just what happened. Right? So if the Democrats, if the Republicans take the House in a couple of months, they're going to turn on. Look, they're going to go after everybody here. They don't even have a choice. They're going to have to go after the FBI. They're going to get Durham back doing more investigations because obviously there's some BS going on here. Everybody's already wanting to know who the leaker was. No, they turned Durham loose. He did a good job. Quite a few people went to jail because of Durham. So he put quite a few Democrats in jail, just like Mueller put quite a few Republicans in jail.
Yeah, they're going after
none of the big names never go, though. The big names.
You see what's going on with Iran.
Well, okay.
Yeah, but
Iran's coming after us again.
Yeah, but one of the things you said about the Democrats with the crime doubling, who's committing the crime? Are these Democrats that are doing the crimes, or are these Republicans? Do we have those stats? Who's propagating the crime? Is it the Democratic Party telling their Democratic constituents somehow clandestinely to do the crime, or is it Republicans that are mad that there's Democrats in control? Who's causing the crime is the big question.
Conservatives truly don't riot, but I've seen the liberal hate. I've seen that anger and angst be driven. I've heard from Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and even Chuck Schumer, telling people to go after these people, go after the Supreme Court, go after and get in their face, get in the restaurant, get in their face. They're riding through towns. Then these riots happen under the guise of a protest. They burn down police stations. They go into stores and rack the stores up. You don't see conservatives running into these stores stealing everything. You don't see conservatives burning down police stations. So there's definitely a difference between the two groups. Then you get your mass shooters, the ones who lose it, and most of these guys are very young. They've been let's face it, they've been desensitized. They all even admit it on their video games. The first person shooter. They've got these weapons at 18 years old. They lose a sense of reality, and most of them were messed up to begin with. You don't just wake up one day and do that. These guys are messed up. They're sociopaths. So, and they did it, right? But then that's what they call. The left is on a whole different ride when it comes to that. But what about guns?
Because left's on their whole brain. But I got a scenario for you, Mike. You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago about Trump announcing his run for presidency before the 2022 elections. Well, now it looks like he's not going to be able to. He's going to have to wait to see what's going on with this case. So I think the Democrats just effectively made it so that more people on the Republican side will come out. And less Democrats will because Trump's not going to be running. I'm not. Sometimes I just wonder about the Democrats in general, what their train of thought is, but it's gotten to the point now that they can't be trusted at all. And I don't know who's
follow the money. When they're not in control, they raise more money. They never raised more money ever than when Trump was in there. I mean, people were writing them crazy checks to get Trump out of office. They love money. They love that.
I noticed. I noticed. They said they were talking about just the other day. Their intake is way down. I think as a party,
now it is.
Well, but I think as a party, they're finding themselves at a defining point. They have become the party of poverty. You know, they don't want to help anybody.
Now, what if you're a Democrat? You
would if you're George Soros if you're George Soros or Warren Buffett, you'll write him a check. You know,
but he's supporting people individually. Soros does individually. He's going after that's why you have all these so-called woke DAs who are letting criminals go. That's why there's crime waves, is because of George Soros' checkbook. That's a good part of it. Anyway.
Well, you see, we need laws in the country that does not allow for money outside of a state to go into a state election. Federal, you know, if it's somebody if they're running for federal, if they're running for president, that's fine. But there should never be statement like if somebody's running for a senator in their state or Congress or any point, mayor, governor, doesn't matter. There should not be outside the state money allowed to be sent there. That should be totally illegal.
Dude, they raided.
Really, what is George Soros? You know, he doing? I mean, he shouldn't be giving money to anybody outside his own damn state or wherever the hell he lives.
They raided Melania's a panty drawer, trying to sniff out evidence. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, the things that they did, and using the FBI the way they did, they've gone places you're not ever supposed to go. They weaponized the FBI. They politicized it. This happened even under Trump, you know, with that other Comey. You know, nothing ever happened to him either. And look at the debauchery. And look at, we have this dossier that we assume is true because.
Well, you see, Comey,
you know,
Comey,
come on, man.
Comey, something did happen to Comey. Comey got neutered, so he may not have went to jail, but he got neutered. He's effectively nothing.
On manufactured evidence. They wrote warrants on manufactured evidence, and nobody.
I know that, and look, really we all know. We know that Hillary lied. We know for a fact now. The Durham report proved what happened here. So Hillary Clinton gave the FBI a fake dossier, which she knew was fake. Which is one, you give an FBI fake information. That's a big time felony. And then she's trying to use it to get rid of a campaign competitor. That's another big felony. But yet, no, they didn't do her anything. And remember, the judge blocked out all kind of stuff that they wouldn't let them look at because Hillary's as guilty as they can be. But trying to put Hillary in jail is tough. It's just a tough thing to do. I mean, you got to catch her with her hand in a cookie jar, and you can only ever catch her hand when it's coming out of the cookie jar. No one's actually in it. So I got to give her credit for that. But that's just left how corrupt they are. And then you've got Hunter Biden. How long have they had Hunter Biden's laptop now? 3 years?
They went after Trump's kids with anger and hate. I mean, they didn't do anything wrong. They were just running their businesses and being what they are. And then think about Hunter Biden. What a just a low life. They're probably the worst possible low life you can think.
And then yet
here he is
today,
in the White House.
Today they seen him out partying on the beach, relaxing. He was on Air Force One. Even the Dems got pissed. He was on Air Force One. So I don't know, but you know what? Even the liberal papers and sites say he's going to jail. So, and then somebody asked,
is he going to go to jail during his father's administration or after?
That's a good question. But it would be better if he went during, because then if the old man's not going to run, he would just pardon and get impeached or whatever.
If they want in Virginia, they can just throw the whole thing out, man. They can throw the whole thing out. And it's an easy way of doing it. They know how to play the game. I've seen it so many times.
If
you have power, you have power. If you have power,
a big
you
movement.
don't have to worry about being prosecuted unless it's really, truly in their face, you know.
I'm
starting to see people get charged who are getting abortions, who are in red states, who travel to a blue state to get the abortion, and then now they're starting to get charged.
Well, they can't do that anymore. Joe Biden's executive order
I think we need to hear from our fetus attorney, Jay McNicholas.
I know. we don't have to.
Did you hear about what the governor of Maryland, is it Larry or Harry Hogan? I think it's Larry. He did a state executive order where he says that, and I'm not sure if it's just workers at abortion clinics, but they're not allowed to travel to states where abortion is now illegal. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, unfortunately for anybody trying to ban anything, you can't ban anybody from traveling anywhere in the United States. It's protected under federal law, so they can get over that.
But he wrote an executive order that, and I think it's just workers in abortion clinics that are not allowed to travel to a state where it's now illegal.
So let's say you live in Kansas where marijuana is illegal, and you drive into the next state, which is Colorado, where it's legal as can be. And you smoke weed there and partake in chocolates and whatever you like, then you go back into Kansas, but you're not high. You left the state and broke the law of your home state, but they can't apply that to you if you travel to another state. So, and I thought about this when the whole thing started, with the SCOTUS and the bans and lifting the ban, Roe versus Wade, that these red states, some of them are going to try to get away with that and charge people for hospital workers if they go in a situation like that, doctors, and also people getting an abortion. So
I'm not even, the abortion thing to me is a moot argument. The states are going to deal with it the way the states want to deal with it. Nobody's getting any bills passed anytime soon. Well, I'm just saying it's a moot argument for everybody right now. You're not going to get Congress to agree on any bills. It's not going to happen anytime soon. They're not. I mean, they tried to pass one in the House with all Democrats, and they couldn't really get it done.
The be point a hard time prosecuting girls who
Democrats are in trouble because they forget that half of Democrats are pro-life. Every time you hear polls like, 90% of no bullshit. We know half of Democrats are pro-life. We know most of Republicans are pro-life. So you can't go around saying, yeah, and Biden is. He said it many times. He's pro-life. So the point being is,
he's a Catholic, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You burn in hell for promoting abortion if you're Catholic. So it's
their mantra.
I'm sure he's going to burn in hell for far more worse deeds than that.
More people, more money.
But anyway, let's get to the news. We got lots of news. We got lots of news across the night. So we're going to start off with this. I like this one because it's a good story for us. Or I should say it's a good story for the Red. Now, Republicans aim to end Democrat and New England monopoly. So they're expecting to take 2 or 3 seats in New England. I mean, I think Democrats are in far worse trouble than they – I know – see, this is what happens with Democrats. They go listen to CNN all the time and NBC and, oh, yeah, we're coming back. Yeah, we're coming back. What? Wait. Well, no, that's with Trump. They were like – with Trump, you could just see their faces like, what the – what happened? And it was funny to me, but everybody knew 100% that they were going to win this election, which, I mean, all the politicians did. So, and then we got stuck with Biden. And I asked all my Democrat friends, I said, do you feel better now? And they all just looked at me. I said, really? Are you happy now? And I said, are you happy, man? Do you feel good about your decision? And no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not. Maybe. And you know what? And then the AOCs aren't happy either. They're wanting to break away. They want to start their own party, their own little progressive offshoot of the liberals. But now AOC's in trouble because, you heard about that too, right? They tried to get the Green Party thrown out. The Democrats did, and they lost. They're still going to have a Green Party. So, but AOC's in trouble.
Man, they sent the IRS after them, and what a nightmare.
Yeah, but Tea Party still exists. Yeah, but they got sued and got all kind of money out of it. So in the end, they did all right. But your favorite girlfriend's in trouble, man. She's been running around screaming,
I'm trying to get a date with police. Her, man. Don't put it
look, I'm telling you, she's been screaming around, defund the police, and now crime in her district is like through the roof. And people are like, well, wait a minute. I mean, have you been outside? Won't you come? Actually, one of the local news reporters said, maybe you should come home for a couple of weeks, Miss AOC, and see what you're doing to our town. And I know Omar's in trouble. There's they're trying to get her out. But, when it takes them, I figured most politicians, if they do get in trouble, it usually takes two times before they actually get them out. And then they get them out, and then you get somebody else that's either better, worse, or the same.
Or the exact same.
Yeah. So you just that's the thing. It's a gamble anytime you kick anybody out of office, but you might get
it's funny though, because she's in control of a very large Muslim area, and Muslims are very, very, very conservative. I mean, there's not much difference between them and Christians when it comes to their outlook on life. And she is not valued. Muslim men don't value women in their community. I mean, they're very gender specific, so I don't know. It's interesting that she's even in charge, and I often wonder who she's in charge of, or what she's in charge of, but she's just there to be there, what I mean? But the woman married her brother and did all kinds of weird stuff, and She played the game, right? I mean, a dishonest game, and that's not who you want. Plus, she hates Jews. I mean, there's over 4 million Jews in the U.S. I mean, she's constantly screaming about that they should die, basically, and then walks it back, and then they let it go. But the media, as long as the media is on their side, they're not going to report on anything. They're not going to say a goddamn word.
But that's what bothers me. Well, no, it's not only Fox. But it doesn't really matter. Fox is bigger than all of them put together. So
I'm talking about the major media, because they're the only one that people.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Fox is bigger than ABC, CNN,
even
CBS,
middle of the
and
road.
NBC put together. Don't forget, Fox has the top 10 news shows. They own all 10 of them, and the only one that ever really gave me any trouble was Rachel, and she told NBC to take a flying, what. So
CNN is nowhere. The rest
they're
of
not going
their
anywhere.
Ratings are crashing. Yeah.
And wait, ladies and
Trump's
gentlemen,
out.
this tells you something right here. So during the big January 6th trials, when ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN were all playing them, Fox murdered them in ratings. If you took all of their ratings combined, Fox doubled them. I think it was 44 million or something. It was ridiculous. They drowned their asses. It tells you how much bigger a network it is and how many more people actually watch Fox. What bothers me, Fox watchers, get your ass out of your couch and go vote. I mean, Jesus, you probably outnumber Democrats 4-1 with too many become couch potatoes. And, I'm going to go vote. Yeah. Oh, it already passed. Well, yeah, you dumbass, you got to go vote. Go vote. Yeah,
there are more Democrats in the U.S., but Republicans vote in greater numbers. So it levels things.
Well, I don't know if there's more Democrats anymore. I wouldn't count on that anymore. Their party's shrinking major. And you know what? They're California. Scared, they're losing their California base. They're losing it in so if you think
if Trump
win in Maryland, well, I don't know if he's going to run.
A lot of the middle of the road people won't vote for Trump. A lot of them won't. So I mean, it's a matter of who.
If it's DeSantis, I'm going to tell you why this started. The whole reason why they went after Trump. So he started polling about 3 weeks ago. He started polling way above Newsom, Biden, or any of them. Actually, it was a point that you could combine them all together. Well, there was no way they could beat him. No, there was no way they were going to beat Trump in the 2024 election. So what they had to do is figure out a way to tie him up till he can't run for 2024. But I don't know why he did that.
Chess game. They know what they're doing.
Because DeSantis is just as popular as Trump. They're not going to win. I mean, they just don't have, especially if the economy's still shitty, which is almost always under a Democrat. I mean, look at Obama's economy for 8 years. It was pathetic. I mean, 1.3 GDP. I mean, it was like we were going backwards for 8 years. And people say,
I remember paying almost $6 a gallon for gas when Obama was in there.
He was another one. I mean, but anytime Democrats in office,
there was no war. Raped. There was no war going on. There's nothing.
No, because they just rape us. That's because all their friends are connected. They just rape us. Yep. But I tell you what, Obama did came out.
They came out with the profit reports for all these oil companies, and man, they're doing really well. You know what I mean? And they're make most profits ever in their lives. And then who they support? They support a lot of these politicians. So they know what they're doing.
But let me help.
They're stealing.
Well, no, our oil companies aren't necessarily. Let me explain how this actually works. So right now, America's oil is coming from overseas. All American oil companies doing is producing it. So they're having to charge. They're having to buy it at market value, which was, I think right now is $90 a barrel. They're paying that. So they're not really actually making that much money. Don't let people bullshit.
$91 a barrel. And it should be the gas should be half the price of what,
it should be at least 40. But the thing of it is that's not the oil company in the U.S. the one causing that.
Gallon of gas.
Yeah, because when America's oil companies would control gas down here was from 99 cents to $1.40 a gallon. So I was listening to one of the local liberals the other day go, well, look, it's down almost $1. Yeah. And I called in and showed them like, really, dude? I said, what was it under Trump?
It's not.
Well, here it is. It's almost $1. It's almost down $1 because it was up to $4. It was up to $4.60.
It was down 15 cents. I just went out the other day, and I'm still paying $4.95 a gallon for unleaded.
I can get it for $3.20, $3.25 right now. Is what I can get it for right now, and then I get 25 cents off a gallon.
Southerners.
So actually, I'm getting it for $3. But still, man, $3 sucks, man. That was Katrina gas. Dude, I got like 500,000 oil refineries in my backyard. Of course, oil is going to be cheaper, but that's okay. I was talking to a friend of mine who was in Kansas. It was $2.75. I'm like, how do you get $2.75? I said, what? Because you don't have anybody that lives in your state? Is that why? Anyway, I'm sorry, Kansas. I love you people up there. Y'all are great. Any place that can live in Tornado Alley, I feel for you, man.
I avoid Kansas, man. It's one of those states you can't avoid. Like Indiana, it's a state it's hard to avoid if you're driving out that way. Now, Kansas, you can completely avoid. Get around there.
So it's Trump. And I love when you read these things like what happened and go to even media. Now they're saying they've got documents that prove that he was given nuclear things to Russia. Really? Well, that we know Joe Biden was doing that. So why we're not arresting them? And I doubt for sure you're going to find anything where president. I mean, you can't even travel in our country until 6 months ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, don't bullshit everybody. So there's a couple things that
Rush, do you see?
So Biden's going to announce
attacked on stage.
Since Trump's in trouble now, Biden's going to go ahead and talk about he's running in 2024. It's almost official now. Bloomberg put it out. Biden getting ready to run in 2024. Already getting his stuff together. Democrats, don't take this the wrong way, because I got a lot of friends that are Democrats. If you vote for Biden again, anybody I know that's Democrats, I'm just going to disown. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I mean, there's got to be a better Democrat than
back
him
to the
and
cancel
Kamala.
culture.
I mean, Harris and Biden. I mean, come on. All right, Democrats, I have a challenge for you. Are you honestly telling me that Joe Momo Biden and Kamala Harris is the best that you can put forward? Because if it's true, you just need to exterminate your party and move on. Because you're a waste of freaking time. I mean, they got the Green Party got better candidates than this. Independents definitely got better candidates than this. The Republicans have got better candidates than this. Just find some, and no, not Governor Newsom, because look at California's a piece of shit. I mean, it's just it don't have to fall off in the ocean. Newsom's pushing it off into the ocean. I'm like, God. Sometimes they see Mike got me all riled up and ranting now. It's look, people, get a grip. All right. It's all I can tell you at this point. We're in deep trouble. And Biden is not going to be the one that fixes it. Look, you just old as I am, you old bastard.
Not. He's too incompetent.
Listen to my voice, Joe. Now imagine that you are
now wait.
Hair of color.
Your favorite second woman is also going to run, Michael.
Uh-oh.
So Hillary's saying she's going to go ahead and run. Hillary said she's going to run against Biden.
I don't want Hillary, man. You know what? I like that other one, AOC. I would straighten AOC out. She'd be so confused in our relationship, she wouldn't have time to talk about building.
No, I see Cigna.
I would take care of that.
I see they bullied Cigna into signing the bill. Guys, this bill's going to be so bad for America. Every time they do a green bill, it just sends us into a tizzy. The country's just like, what the hell is this garbage? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, Kansas to recount abortion vote by hand despite big margin. Whatever, people, get over it. Y'all lost, move on.
The spending plan they passed is going to put billions in the pockets of rich people. So, it's the same game. It's a game that we're not part of. We need to get into that scene, man.
Because we're poor.
The rich get richer and we get poor.
Wait, here you go. Oh, look at Hunter Biden. This is ridiculous. Hunter Biden spotted enjoying beach vacation with family amid questions over business dealing and taxes. He's wearing one of them little beanie caps, like the golfers wear with the little palm thing on top of it. This dude.
I don't know whether
he's he has got balls.
The worst person in the world.
Well, any drug addict, alcoholic, whatever he is, this guy's got the biggest balls I've ever seen anybody on a freaking planet. I mean,
I don't know whether he's the worst person in the world or my hero. I'm trying to decide.
It's a flippy one because he just sticks it up in the air and goes on with his life. I'm like, whatever.
Strippers, coke, he's got it all going on and got billions or whatever, millions. He's just living in the White House and whatever. And man, this guy, and he sells art.
What do you think? I gotta ask, Mike. So why do you think the liberals are losing so many big names lately? I mean, Bill Maher's turned on them. Rachel Maddow's pretty much turned on him. I hear Stephen Colbert's leaving late night.
Wow.
Because people can only take so much. People can only take so much. And then they push back. That's humans, We have a huge history of that. I've been watching The Mummy King a lot, man. There's a lot of pushback. And now you've got Biden in there, and people know he's not in charge. You know, most people are not stupid. The Democrats love stupid people because they don't ask any questions. They go and vote. You know, they give campaign donations. They're easily fooled, and once they have something in their head, it's nearly impossible to remove it. You know, talk to Frank Zappa. He was a big deprogrammer, you know, like Reverend Mooney deprogrammer. And, you know, I listened to a lot of the things that his research that he used to talk about. Once something's in someone's head, it is such a hard time. Why do you think that is? You know, it's just once it's in there. I mean, you guys run into people that are really on the wrong path when it comes to politics, and they listen to the machine. And you try to tell them something that's right, and even give them evidence, and they don't believe it.
It's not just politics. I mean, I run into more people who are on the wrong side of religion who think that, you know, oh God, it's all this, you know, there's devout believers. And, you know, I'm sorry, I don't believe in a lot of that mysticism stuff, but once it's in their head, you can't get it out with a sledgehammer because it's like the pathways in the brain just make these connections and you can't break them.
Yeah, brain addicts.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is.
So, you know what? The Texas governor may be coming. He might be replacing Santos here soon. This guy's got balls. So, you know, of course, the libtards are all over him because he just keeps every time a bunch of them get arrested in state immigrants, he puts them on. Now he's sending them to New York. He was sending them to D.C. Now he's sending them to New York.
Yeah, but you see what's going on in New York? So in New York, they're getting off the bus and they're getting free money from these charities. They're taking the money. They're going to D.C. themselves because they don't want to be in New York because it's too dangerous. The illegal aliens that are there say it's too dangerous. And they're going back. They're going to D.C. So not only is D.C. getting extra people coming back, it's like now it's a focal point of these illegal aliens. You know, they're all going to D.C. and setting up camp. I love it, dude. I love it, man. I'll give some applause.
That sounds good. So let's flip back to Uncle Trump for a minute. Quick question. So, can't the president declassify anything that he wants to? He is president of the United States, right? Isn't that how that works? I mean,
I don't believe so. I think he can only declassify those things that he has clearance of. So anything that's above his clearance, he can't even look at. And then
but so nothing. So if it's nuclear,
for certain things that you can,
well, if it's nuclear, then it won't be above his clearance because he can launch nuclear weapons. So
right.
So that's all they're saying. Yeah. So they're saying they found papers dealing with nuclear weapons. He's saying no, they've well been declassified. He said you can talk to some of the other people and thing. He said they've been declassified. So if it's within his reach, this DOJ could find itself in a lot of trouble. I mean, the country's going to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute! You just went after a former president for no reason." And
he still lives by the title of he still lives by the title of president, and they keep their titles for the rest of their lives, even though
they keep a lot of their things. So this is actually
there's not much they can do. I mean, to go after someone, you have to have rock solid proof.
This is going to turn into any way this goes. This is going to turn into a bad thing in our country. I can already tell you, Trump's 90 million supporters.
Epstein's buddies, man. Why haven't they gone after?
That's what I'm saying. All of these questions are going to come out. Well, that's all this stuff is going to come out. That's why the Republicans
prosecutions of these people.
So you know, you've seen the new list that the Republicans are putting out of all the committees they want. The first committee they're starting is investigating the investigators of Jan 6. They're going after Nancy full force, but it's not going to matter. She's going to lose Speaker of the House, and she may retire if she loses. So, you know, if she loses Speaker of the House, so she may just go on and do her thing. I don't really see Nancy ever retire until she dies, but, you know, a lot of people seem to think she's going to. But
I hear that witches can live to 150 or more. Man.
Yes, but you can't be in Congress that long because we'll realize that you are a witch. So that's not going to happen. But still, it's when the country just needs to get on a steady ground. If the Democrats keep the Senate, but they lose the House, there'll just be a lot of investigations going on. There'll be a lot of stuff going on. A lot of information will start coming out towards the 2024 election. That's what scares the Democrats the most. So when they start asking questions, why didn't we go after the Antifa people who were at Jan 6? They were inside the building directing people. They got them on video. They've already showed that. Who unlocked the door and let them in? Because there was chains on the door. Somebody actually physically unlocked the door and let them in.
Entrapment. It was partly
It's,
entrapment. Those police officers let those people in. They have to
well, they
let
did,
them
and
in.
it's worse because
I would have
Nancy
shot them all
Pelosi.
outside on the steps if they tried to get in. They're lucky I
But
wasn't a cop that day there.
yeah, they
Yeah,
popped off a couple
somebody
rounds.
gave those.
All you had to do is pop a couple rounds in the air, and they would have broke up. But it's Nancy Pelosi's actually the one who delegates the police for the Washington D.C. police. So now they want to know why they weren't dispatched. And when they saw the crowd coming, because it took them a while to walk in, it's not like they got there in 5 minutes. They had plenty of time to dispatch more officers, but they didn't. So everybody wants to know why they did that. And of course, people are also asking, why didn't you go ahead and deploy the National Guard like Trump asked? And then there's the biggest problem. Probably, no, the guard wasn't there. There was no guard there. National Guard went down.
Yeah,
Nancy
the guard was
refused
there.
it.
They were all,
No, she refused it.
there.
No, she refused it. They weren't.
I'm saying that they were already.
Oh, you mean they were already? Oh, okay.
I
thought you meant they were deployed. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, I got you.
Out in front for crowd control,
they had been there.
Yeah, but they weren't deployed at the Capitol. So
no, they were. There was a small contingent out front for like crowd control and that kind of thing. And but the other thing is, you mentioned about the changes. Those officers wouldn't open those chains without orders. Someone told them to do that.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. You can bet your ass that's who it was. You know, they no other officers came, nothing came by, and there were lots of people in there encouraging people to do stuff. There's never been any apologies about, oh, this one killed this one and that one. We come to find out most of that's dumb. And then there still hasn't been any trials on any of the stuff under Obama or Trump. We had 18 months under Obama of just rampaging across blue cities, killing people, burning things down, raping, pillaging. And then we had at least a year under Trump doing the same thing, and no one has been prosecuted. Why? I mean, just attacking a federal courthouse alone should get you 10 years.
You know what I mean?
We're not talking about Trump. We're talking about the violence.
I don't like what's going on. I don't like what's going on at all. And they're, raiding his place is a smokescreen to try to just divert people's attention off of Joe Biden's, cognitive decline. And it's very, very simple, very easy to see, not including the war.
Yeah, they don't. They're scared Russia. Of Trump running.
I mean, Pelosi goes to Taiwan and takes a big steaming poop in the bed and then leaves like Amber Heard. You know what I mean? And then now Taiwan's under the gun. They've got ships closer. All these airplanes intruding and all this other stuff. They got China's got the big secret submarine parked closer to Taiwan, whatever that means. So she made a mess. But what's interesting? She had her son Paulie with her at all these places, and he's got he's the head of 2 lithium mines. And he's got a lithium battery company, and Taiwan happens to build those batteries, and China supplies the lithium from the mines. So, that's why the Shanghai, and he met with executives there. So really her trip was more about the future money in the family and, the billions that they're going to make from all of this. Because, lithium's a hot thing right now, especially, so that's the politics of it, right? She has her own hunter. He's not as out of control, but he's still a loser, douche, elitist. You know what I mean?
Let's see where all this ends up. I don't know. I'm telling people they better be careful with this Trump stuff.
It's power, man.
It's power. Supporters, man.
They don't live by the same laws we live by.
Yeah, but you can't live by complete stupidness. You can't piss off 100 million people, and then when they lose their mind, you can't go put the National Guard on them because they're not going to go defend them.
You can, as long as there's another half of people that will pick up the tab. That'll you know what? If one person's weak, another person's going to have to make up.
That's not what I'm talking about, Mike. Right? Democrats aren't fighters. There's not many Democrats in the military. They're just not known to be fighters. They're just not who they are. You start a revolution in the country, they're going to get slaughtered.
Transvestites in the military.
That's what I'm saying. You start a war in a country, you're going to get slaughtered. It's a stupid thing because you're not going to get the military to fight against its own people. And the National Guard surely is.
In the military. I would put retarded people in the military.
You're not even going to be able to get the military in the North to kill people. They're going to be like, no, man.
Any other army would flip out if they knew that there was retarded people running at them with machine guns. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why they put them in there, man.
Would be totally
that's why they put them in there, man. To scare their asses.
I'd have people's heads on spikes like Vlad the Impaler.
For people with special needs children, write to Michael, not to me, man.
Ukraine would be like, this guy's messed up. The Russia needs to put me in there as a general. I'll solve their problem in a week. They may not like it, but I'll do it in a week. And we don't talk about the Ukraine anymore. We're not talking about that as much, man.
Yeah, it really hasn't been in the news
There's
that
still,
much. The nuclear plant has, but not so much, atrocities and war crimes yet,
their ratings are going down. That's why.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? At the same time of this war, there's all this push and pull and people dying and all this terrible stuff. You see all these like politicians visiting Zelensky, like hanging out, having some tea, walking through the town, looking at stuff. It's very weird. Like, why are they so safe? I mean, you had a lot of people flowing there so far. So I would have just blown his brains out. The U.S. president meets with Zelensky, pow, problem solved. Again, angly, point A to point B. You know what I mean? I have freed your country. I said on my last show, I'd be blowing up these palaces, Kim Jong-un and all that. You threaten me, I'll blow up your whole house, man. I'll call you, keep you on the phone, and blow up your house.
Blew up his house and killed his kid. So.
My friend Oliver, the one I want to come on the network because he wants to do a show, he was held hostage in Libya. And he was part of the overthrow of Gaddafi, man. He's got some amazing stories. I mean, he was there, and he's a pretty tough dude and pretty straightforward. He's also very spiritual. But man, he used to be a Secretary of Congress for a bunch of years. So and then he went over to Egypt and whatever, and he got into a lot of interesting stuff, man. He has a lot of ties into Ukraine. So we're trying to get him on the network. I got another one, my friend Cindy. Excuse me, showed interest. Cindy Thompson. Great psychic medium. Have done investigations with her. Super okay. So what do you guys think of Salman Rushdie getting knifed in the neck and now he's going to lose an eyeball when he was on stage today?
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't know the full statistics of the attack. I heard me and Jeff briefly talked about it on the last show, but yeah. I mean he's had a target on his back since he wrote that book, the Satanic Verses.
The satanic verses.
Oh wait! We got to do some breaking. We got to do some breaking news here. Hold on. So NBC and ABC were running earlier that the documents they found were classified. So far, all the ones the FBI found were classified. Trump was in trouble. Truly declassification. The documents at the heart of the Trump's raid controversy are declassified. The DOJ could find his ass an indictment over this.
They were declassified before he got in trouble for this?
Yeah, they were already declassified. They were all the documents that were retrieved were declassified documents.
Had already been, and they're trying to blame it on him. That's great.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do with that. They got several other ones in here talking about it. A couple of FBI agents have leaked stuff saying the raid was bullshit. It should have never went down. That this is just a complete injustice on what they're doing. So you've got FBI agents now getting mad, just like they did last time with Comey. And Comey had to quit over it. Somebody said, well, there's never any consequences. Comey said there was a lot. One, he had to quit his job.
When you're so funny.
Get in jail, but now he's stuck being a nobody.
When Hillary and Bill Clinton left the White House, after the transition, they stole millions of dollars worth of stuff from the White House, paintings, beautiful artwork, beautiful, silverware sets, everything you think of, even furniture that were there for over 100 years in some cases. Then they were like, well, we weren't supposed to, you weren't supposed to take that. They're like, well, we didn't know we weren't supposed to take it.
It wasn't there.
So but nobody raided their files. Nobody raided them. Nobody went after that stuff. Nobody, they just asked for it back. They gave back half of it, and that was it. Nobody ever got into the particulars after that. But Trump, we know why they went after Trump, and it's easy to see, especially since the left is gloating. All the lefties came out just crazily gloating. They had nothing to gloat about because Biden is a huge disaster. The whole Democratic government is. They've done this to themselves. You know what I mean? But Jay, when were the Democrats ever there for the people? These were the people who formed the KKK. These were the people who were responsible for Jim Crow laws. All the stuff that they say that they're against, they were the ones who perpetuated.
They're also the same people who go after welfare, knocking it back. They're also the same people that go after our Social Security, which they think it's an entitlement. We pay into that, and they try to take money out of it. I think the entire party is a bunch of criminals, to be honest with you.
Mm. Well, most of them, yeah.
That's the way. If you want to get rich, politics or religion is the way to go. You know,
Yeah.
and by the way,
or
as
write a
Reverend
self-help
Angle, you
book.
guys can send
You
me
should,
any donations possible, especially $20. Anybody can afford $20. I watched
now
that
here's the
Creflo Dollar, and he was like,
now,
"You give me 20, you give me $20, and that $20 will find its way back into your wallet tenfold." But he can't make it happen.
Sure it will.
Thanks.
but here's the first woman or the current woman I would vote for president if she ran. Tulsi Gabbard.
Uh-oh.
Tulsi rips Trump's raid. Says this is setting a country on a very, very dangerous course.
I like Tulsi.
New course.
She's very cute,
like, look,
very dynamic.
And who else was it? One of the other Democrats, they come out and said this was bad. It's setting a bad precedence. If there was something here, it should have been handled behind the scenes. Say, look, Trump, we're coming in. We're not going to do anything. If we find it, you'll just have to not run and stay out of it, because it's hard to convict a president anyway. So where are you going to put him? It's not like you can put him anywhere, So it's one of those things that it should have been handled behind closed doors.
Buried on that golf course next to his ex-wife.
Yeah. So
they
now,
want him dead. These
now,
people want him dead. I know people that want him.
This is true, though, Mike. I'm
dead.
telling you, dude. This is setting the country on a course for revolution if this keeps it up. People are fucking pissed, and not just Republicans.
And there's no shut-off valve, dude.
Anytime you see Democrats, Bill Maher came out and said the same thing. What the hell's going on here? You don't raid a former president's home. Even he thinks it's politically
There's no
motivated.
shut-off valve. We've talked about it here. I've talked about it on my show multiple times over, especially the recent months. There's no shut-off valve, and they're running to a place where there's going to be a collision. We're at the tipping point. And in that tipping point, that's why people are going crazy, stabbing people, whatever. They've letting go of their rationale. They're letting go of their reasoning, and especially the ones who are sick-minded. If they pay attention to the information out there, they're going to be pushed over that cliff, because you can't just go through all these epidemics, COVID and whatever. Now it's an endemic and blah 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 blah. Staying in here, you got no money. These businesses closed down. They're bragging how they're putting people back to work. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing those jobs. I'm not, nobody's seeing those jobs. So whatever they play the game with numbers, and they shuffle things around. They want to look like they're doing well. I know by my bank account what's going on, and that's all you can do is daily, every day. You have coming in, and you know what you have going out, and when you're paying extra for fuel and food, that these guys are stealing from you. The people who are getting richer from that are stealing from you. That's all it really is. And it's been like that since robber baron days. What's changed? Mm-hmm. Robber barons controlled the media, didn't they? They're the ones who caused the Great Depression, because they had their little buddies in the media publish articles saying that the banks were going insolvent. The banks weren't going insolvent, but then when everybody rushed to the banks, took their money out, they went insolvent. And then these robber barons bought all the debt, all the mortgages, everything for pennies on the dollar. You know what? Same. Things don't change.
No,
things don't change.
The reason I think things don't change is people, even just the lowest, poorest people on the planet, they fear change.
Yep. They don't know what change is. They don't know what positive change is.
Right.
But we all
Democrats don't fear change. They just fear losing their power base. That's all they fear.
This is the deal.
They're not worried about anything.
We can all agree on some very simple things. You want to be safe in your home, don't you? You want to have enough money in the bank for any problems, and be able to pay your bills, and maybe not be filthy rich, but be okay. You want to be okay. You want to be safe, right? You want to live in that safe neighborhood. You want clean air. You want clean food to eat. You want clean water to drink. All these things are simple, and that's our representation. That's all they really need to think about. Whenever they say we're going to make this law, they really need to say, is this going to affect all Americans? And then, then you get this whole push between gay and transsexual and all the other stuff. And everybody's so super sensitive on their group and what they are, but we're all still together in this country, whether you a dude who wears a dress or whatever the hell you got, but it's scary what's being controlled and used to manipulate people. And they use the media, they use commercials, the politically correct movement, is not politically correct.
These fear tactics. It's all fear tactics.
All people are not created equal. Men and women are created differently, and men and women, it works together. There's women have talents, men have different talents. It's just, but how they try to make it where it's not like that. You ever watch commercials and see how they effeminize men, and the men are stupid. The men don't make decisions. I mean, think about contrast. Think about Happy Days, right? You had the father. He owned the hardware store. He took care of his family. He made decisions, but his wife also helped him make decisions. It wasn't like he was dominating everybody, but he was a secure male. Remember back in the day, there was teachers, male teachers in schools, and it was nice having that male teacher. You responded to them differently. They had different command of the room and laying down that information for your perception. So I don't know. I think that we've gone too far, and there's no going back, and it has to reach ahead. And then after that, people are gonna be like, well, how do we rebuild society? What do we really want to do? If we can, because China is there hating on us. Russia is there. There's things going on now that this president can't handle. He mentally can't handle it.
He's not capable of it. Absolutely.
No. And we've got 2 more years of that.
Yeah.
It's not. He won't last. I don't think he'll get past Christmas, this dude. I think he's going to have to step down.
Who? Joe?
Something will happen.
Joe will be here in 2024. Don't even worry about that. The Dems already know how they're going to get.
You'll get cackling Kamala.
They're not. Joe will be here till 2020 till 2024. And then the Hunter Biden stuff will be released so that he has to step down and let somebody else run. That's exactly how they're going to deal with that. They don't want him dying. Like that won't hurt him. They don't want him dying.
You don't think they would? I don't think the Democrats want to win. I think that they want the Republicans in so they can make that money. It's that simple.
Maybe so. But I got to answer that question somebody wrote to anyway. So. Somebody asked me why they've heard about the 11 classified things that were picked up and why there's no information coming out about the interior stuff into them. First, some of it's probably really classified high, like CCO or CCI or something. So anybody releasing that would be, in violation of several different laws, so they'd be in prison. But the reason you haven't heard anything is because they're reading through them and they're not finding what they're looking for. One thing you know about the Democrats, anytime they think they had something, we learned this with the Russian documents, which were all highly classified. That time they think they had something, someone leaked something to the press. Well, nothing's being leaked to the press right now, which suggests that they're just not finding. And if there's only 11 sets of documents, you can bet your ass they've been through all of them already. And I can guarantee you they went through all them documents in the last 24 to 48 hours. There's no bullshit. And you're talking about 11 sets of documents. You put a crew of FBI agents, they can do that in a couple of hours. So what's the holdup? Why haven't we been told anything? Because they're still fishing. They need something. They have to find something solid now because this guy signed off on raiding a president's house. Any way this goes, it should have never been handled this way. So they got to deal with this. And this could be
Let's roll back 4 years.
Let's big fallout for
when Trump was running. Let's go back to when Trump was running. They wiretapped his phone. They paid close attention to everybody around him. They had files on everybody around him. And then, that stuff should never have happened. When he said that they were wiretapping him, Obama laughed it off. Everybody else laughed it off. Oh, he's a stupid idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Whatever. And that's the game. That's what they do, man. That's the game. If you know about psychological warfare, that's what that is. It's interesting that Trump didn't understand that. And he really should have hired a tactician of psychological warfare to be there for him because he's not that kind of guy. He gets down to the trenches himself and gets dirty. You're not supposed to do that. You want to have somebody else who's going to go out there and run that campaign, of going against these other people and exposing them for what they are. But he didn't do that. He didn't do any of that. He didn't even hold people accountable for anything.
And here's some other news for you.
Evidence in a presidential election against your opposite candidate. Oh my God! If you said that back in the day to somebody, they wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe that would happen here in the United States. But everything is different now, isn't it?
Well, they were interviewing Trump's lawyers earlier. NBC was, so they thought they had him. He said, no, we didn't refuse. We told them they could open anything they wanted to open. He said all of this information is
who's his lawyer? I want to call them.
Actually, it says lawyers.
Right, yeah, he's got a huge bank of lawyers.
He said lawyers, and they're saying
that. Lawyers,
he said I don't know. It doesn't say who they are. It just says lawyers. But they're saying no. You can go ahead and look. We don't mind if you go through them. So and wait, Trump had already told the FBI earlier this year that if they needed to come in, they could come in. They didn't even have to do it this way. This was for show. He had already told them that they could come in. Everything in the house was declassified, or it was because remember. President can't have classified documents in his house. He was president of the United States. He never loses his clearance ever.
Did you see that? Did you see that picture?
I don't know how you're going to convict on that
woman an FBI agent. You know, she had the FBI gear on and all that. Like she was one of the people who went in. She had to weigh 300 pounds, and they were so. I wanted an FBI agent one time, and they have such strict. You know, I didn't have the proper even eyesight. You know, because I had like 2200 vision at the time. You know, and they're so strict on their rules. And to see someone like that, you're like, what is going on? You know, but that's the world, man. That's what we're in. They want to give credence to people who are out of control and let those people make decisions, like the naked guy walking through the subway in the city. You know, I mean, that's probably the least of people's worries down there. But the guy's off the wall. That's Fruit Loops right there. You know, that's a dude who should be locked up in a mental institution, and we have failed him by letting him roam the streets. And he's a ticking time bomb. At some point, a guy like that will attack somebody, look at him the wrong way. All you need is a steak knife. You garbage pick a steak knife and stick it in somebody, man. That's the city right now. Those illegal immigrants didn't want to stay in New York because it was too dangerous.
Well, apparently they are staying. The mayor, I'm reading right now. The mayor said that he can't get him to leave. He was offering them money to leave. He said they're not leaving. He's bitching now because the Texas governor just
it's the opposite. Adams was surprised that these people.
Well, I'm sitting here reading, and this is New York's favorite newspaper, New York Times, writing this. He said they can't get him to leave. He said in the beginning they were just leaving. He said, but the last 4 or 5 busloads won't leave. They saying they actually the way they wrote it is they're not welcome in DC anymore. That's why they're not going there. Because the mayor in DC said if you show up here, we're sending you somewhere else. She's already said that because she's asked for National Guard.
You can't read liberal propaganda papers that you're not going to get information.
Dude, it's NBC and the Times. They're not liberal propaganda. They love the Democrats and they love New York. They're not going to make New York look bad.
So they're going to talk about Adams. They're not going to talk down about Adams. They're going to say, yeah, of course. They're not talking it down. No, they're leaving because it's too dangerous. They don't want to be.
And then here you've got the police chief saying the same thing. He said, there's just too many. There's nothing we can do right now. There's just too many illegals. All together, they sent like 40,000 of them. They said they just can't. There's just too many of them. They're being overrun.
They just started sending a couple of buses to the city. That just happened last week.
They've been flying up planes for like 6 months.
That's the Democrats. The Democrats have been doing that, not Abbott.
Those guys just started doing this. There's 5 different governors actually sending. I don't know why Abbott's getting all the credit for it, but there's 5 Southern governors sending people out, and it's been going on for about 6 or 7 months. They have been. People don't understand. There has been almost 2 million illegals come in the last 12 months. That's outrageous. Texas can't handle that. Nobody down here can handle that. So they're just sending them out, 10,000 at a time, 2,000 at a time, 1,000, 5,000. They're just pumping them out and getting rid of them. And they're using federal money to ship them around. They're like, we're not paying for this. This ain't coming out of our coffers. And they're only sending them, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, they're only sending them to Blue City. Since y'all want illegal so much, they're sending them to your city, which of course doesn't help your voting because it's in your city. You already control that city. But
safe harbor cities, right? I mean,
so they're expecting, by the way, they're expecting red intrusion into New York this year, red intrusion into California this year, and then Maryland, a couple of states that were all blue. They're expecting to get them a little closer to purple. The Democrats got a lot of problems to deal with, and I'm not sure how they're going to deal with a lot of it because God help them if Kamala takes over, they're done. They might as well just close their party doors and go on home, man, because it's over with for them. She'll make them look like complete and utter morons, and who she's going to pick for VP. Maybe she'll pick a black woman. There'll be 2 black women in charge. There you go. And then the Democrats have to deal with all these suits they got going against them right now for hiring people based on color or sex, which of course is illegal.
You don't mess with black women. I know a lot of black women. You don't want to mess with that, man. They're very real. They're very real. They're very, very, very real. So you don't want to mess with that. And that's one of the things I love about black women. Latinos too. You know what? I think that the it makes you harder.
Wait, I want to go back to Trump for a minute because I forgot about this. I was reading this a few minutes ago. So this is the DOJ's real problem. It's not a matter whether they find something, not find something. It's a matter of how can you convict Trump, because you have to do of his peers. If you get 6 Trumpsters on there, you're never getting a conviction ever. And Republicans are not going to allow just Democrats, all Democrats on the jury. It's just not going to happen. So even if you get 1 Trumpster on there, it's it. You got to have a complete conviction. It's got to be 12.
In a few months, the House will go completely Republican. They'll have control of the House in a few months, and then then it's a lame duck session for Biden. He's not going to be able to do. He'll blame them for everything that he can't get done, and that's going to be part of his platform. I don't think he's going to make it. I think they're going to have to retire him somehow. It's just he's not going to be physically
able. I told you how they're
to.
going to retire.
The last time he ran, he was in the basement. He was in the basement. He didn't go anywhere. Running for office is a very physical, demanding thing. It takes a lot out of people. So he's not going to be able to do it.
Well, the Washington Post put it out.
They're going to have to give her a sweetheart deal to buy her.
It's not. But see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they want her or not. You can't have two loss back and back like that. That the country's not going to tolerate, and neither are the Republicans. So you're going to have.
It's up to the DNC. It's up to the DNC.
It's not up to the DNC
and who they support.
It's not up to the.
Well,
DNC.
Hillary's looking at running again.
She can run, and anybody can run. But if you lose, if you lose, so this is how it works. If Kamala goes and Biden goes, the House takes over. That'll be a Republican that will be president, not a Democrat. They will have given them the presidency.
I'm talking about Biden steps down, and then Kamala says that whatever her excuse would be,
it all has to be done before November 2nd, Mike. It ain't going to happen. They're not going to.
But I don't think that they're even dedicated to do that, because these aren't really Democratic thinkers are two-dimensional thinkers, man. They don't think about the long term. They only think about the here and now, right? So they want the Republicans in control. It's only going to be for a short time, so they can flip the switch again. But then they get that money, they get those donations. They can say, "Look what they're doing to your government. Look how they screwed things up." And blah.
If you look at the Republicans' last 8 or 9 sets of presidents, when they take it in the first 2 years of presidency, they usually tend to take the Senate the next time and keep it all the way through to the next president. They've done that now under Reagan, under Clinton, under Bush, under Obama, and under Trump. So it's just a thing to how it works for them. People don't trust Democrats to run the Congress. They just don't, because every time they do stuff like they did yesterday, pass humongous bills that doesn't help anybody but them. By the way, now, guys, there's an extra 100,000 IRS agents, which now I'm hearing lawyers are saying this is unconstitutional, what they're trying to do here. And remember, the Democrats ran on, we're not going to tax anyone under 400,000. Well, guess what, people? The 87,000 they hired are only to hunt people under 400,000. So just get ready for audits. That's all I can tell you. And there are going to be lots of them. There are going to be lots of lawsuits. There are going to be lots of hating. And the Democrats' numbers are going to tank even more. And this is going to bring more inflation into the country, so that's going to tank even more. Currently, Biden sits between, depending on who you want to read, between 32 and 38%. CNN or NBC, what I'm trying to say was Reuters did, and they laughed their asses off. And then Reuters and NBC came out and said that the inflation plan was right, and then the whole entire country, including the rest of the news media, laughed their asses off. Everybody's getting tired of being lied to, and even the major media can't ignore it anymore. NBC and CNN, all of them can't ignore what's going on in the country. And if they want to stay in business, they got to talk about it, because if not, everybody's just going to keep going to Fox or to, what are the other independents, or what is it? There's 5 or 6 conservative ones out there now, so that are growing. And, there's several of them going to be quite big. Then they'll be rivaling NBC and CNN, because CNN and them forget the majority of people don't get their news from cable news networks. They get it from the internet. So it's a change in playfield. And we don't necessarily look at what media we're getting it from. We're just reading stories for the ones that we're looking for. So the world's changed, and keeping up with it, these networks just have a hard time. CNN, I don't know what happened to CNN. CNN was my favorite network for a long time. After Desert Storm, they were a blast to watch. Or during they were great.
They were the first network to actually air live battle footage.
Yeah. And they were very bipartisan. They were very down the road, right down the middle. They had their own host debating. They were good. And then all of a sudden, some independent, some liberal bought them out, and they just became liberal garbage. And and I think NBC, like CBS and ABC and CNN, are learning you can't have that all many liberals. There's just not enough liberals for all the networks. There's just not enough of them anymore. So when you look at it, and this is what cracks me up. So the best day for any of Jan 6 was 22 million. And that was between 5 liberal networks and a couple of smaller ones. So the average was around 3 or 4 million. Fox was doing 12, 14, 16 million. And they never aired a Jan 6 at all. So I told you the majority of the country was not interested. So it only came out to, I think it was 16% of America actually watched the Jan 6 trials. That's how little they were convinced that Trump was trying to start an insurrection. Most Americans, if you ask them, said Trump was just throwing a temper tantrum, wasn't trying to start an insurrection. And that's what even a lot of Democrats said the same thing. And he said, last they checked, throwing temper tantrums not illegal. And again, it's why they can't see. They would have just went after him for the Jan 6 thing. That's what the DOJ originally said. But when he reviewed the thing, there's just no evidence. You have to have evidence to go after it.
That's life.
Hearsay is not evidence; it's speculation.
Well, we'll see how it works out.
So as far as the top secret document, again, if he's got to go into a jury of his own peers, there's not going to be a conviction. It's going to be just like the two impeachments. And the Democrats should realize that. But for them, it's all about tying him up past November of 23 because then he can't run. He's out.
Yeah.
He can't. He can't.
If they can, it's going to be a battle. That's for sure.
It's going to be a battle, and we'll see how it goes.
Battle.
And they better have some good stuff on him. And then again, as far as declassified and the president having classified information, you never lose. And that's the other part. I don't think the DOJ actually thought about this. A president never loses his clearance ever. So you can't really get him unless you can find that he was giving documents to somebody. Having him in his possession is not illegal. This is gonna be, and a good lawyer is gonna be able to argue.
It's not necessarily true, Joe. My dad had top secret clearance back when.
What I mean by Jay is everything that he's got in his house, he had in his office.
Well, that may be true, but still, being in possession of top secret information, you have to have a way to keep it secured and locked so that no one that doesn't have clearance can get to it. There were often times when I would go to my dad's office and he didn't necessarily know that I was coming after school or what have you, just to go say hi or, meet him after work. And I'd knock on the door because it was locked. And as soon as I'd knock on the door, I'd hear you never seen a Ferris Bueller when the secretary and the principal are running around trying to get stuff together because they're all freaking out about they just insulted, they think the father of the girl whose grandmother died. That's what I would hear. You'd hear all these people shuffling around, making all kinds of noise. And, someone's like, wait a minute. And then finally, about 10 minutes later, they'd open the door because they would have to take all of the secure material, put it in a folder, put it in a file box. Office. So if you're in charge of any kind of classified information, whether it's declassified or not, it's really not supposed to get into anyone else's hands. You are responsible for those papers. So if they can prove he's been some sort of neglect with anything, he may get in trouble. But if the stuff is actually declassified, it's kind of a gray area.
Why wait a year and a half?
Yeah,
and remember, he has the right to a speedy trial. So if he wants to push it, they're going to have to give it to him, or he's going to.
But why wait a year and a half to raise?
But you know as well as I do, FBI investigation takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and that's what they're trying to do here. Mm-hmm. According to them, they're still investigating Hillary Clinton.
That's the problem.
So
the investigation is different than the raid. The raid starts the investigation. You get your subpoena from what you suspect. You go in there,
and investigations can run 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
With nuclear weapons, come on, man. Nuclear weapons, really? And that's what
but now the media is not even talking about that anymore. So I don't know what's going on with that. They're just saying he had very high classified documents in his possession, but the lawyers and a bunch of the other people, and then one of the people from the Hill who works as the I forgot what they call it, but he's saying no. A president has his clearance for life. And if it's documents he's already viewed and read, you cannot tell him he can't have them or see them. He said it's just the way it works. He said, especially if it's documents that he's cleared to go on a case or to do something with, he said of course he has a right to keep any of it.
On the other hand, where did they find these documents? Were they on his desk, opened out for anyone to see, or were they locked up?
Oh, no, they brought safe crackers with them. They said it was in a big old lockdown safe with all these kind of things.
How did they get to the documents he allegedly had? They had to crack open either a safe or
they had to break into it. So it's going to be a hard conviction for them, but it's not about the conviction. It's just about tying him up so he can't run. That's all this is about. It's not about anything else because the FBI is going to say, well, we can't rush the trial. The investigation. Remember, it took them, 5 years to investigate Hillary to find out she was innocent? They're still investigating Hunter Biden 3 years later. The FBI is ridiculous sometimes with this stuff, and it's going to be the same thing with Trump. And then if the Republicans win in 2024, then the whole thing will get dropped. it'll just go away.
If they charge
it'll be
him with a crime, it's different than if they're just investigating him. So they would have to physically charge him with a crime to impede any kind of presidential run.
They'll have to come up and say
a lot more have gotten in who are a lot worse. Believe me.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Well, we've had felons win. We've had people got convicted of felon and won. So
Marion Barry, cocaine, busted by the FBI and all that. They got reelected, man.
Like immediately. I mean, like as soon as he got out, he was back as mayor. It was kind of disgusting. And I don't think anyone voted on him because he was a good mayor. I think they voted on him because they identified with him because the bulk of DC is black. I mean, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but now. I think he was voted in because of his color.
Who they have now? She, she's against all the illegal immigrants. She's had 4,000 that have come to DC and they can't handle it. She wants to call out the National Guard on these illegal immigrants.
Who's that? Muriel Bowser?
I don't know. You know what? It just gets more stupid every day, and every time I say to myself, "Things can't."
So wait, here you're gonna love this. Joe Biden's White House people came out and said experts remain skeptical of a document's claim, but all legal experts agree presidents have absolute authority to declassify any documents that they see fit to declassify. So I don't know now, but there is there's a catch-22 to this, y'all. I think there's an act they have to perform, something they have to start. So I don't think you can just take him and say he declassified. I think he's actually had to do something. So we'll see where this all leads up. But
the morale of the country is very far down, and it's not just because of economics. They truly believe that their leaders are a bunch of liars and nobody can be trusted. It loosens the foundation. If you don't have a solid foundation, you can't build any kind of relationship or have any kind of longevity. If it's always like anything could happen at any time. I mean, you want your stick-to-itiveness to your politicians and also equal representation. Well, they don't even preach that anymore, And the Republicans are too reserved. They need some hot blood who's going to be able to be real and rise. I like that one in Texas. The more I listen to her, she's right in there. I know it's soon because she just got elected, but wow, what a VP choice, just someone like that. She's Spanish in that community. She's direct. She understands family. She understands everything that she talks about.
Well, it's going to be nice because if New York gets and DC get a bunch of Hispanics, they might see a change there. That might go really
Black
bad.
people are starting to like Trump. They want to go to the Republican side. They're realizing that they're not getting anything from their current leadership.
Yeah, and that's thanks to Trump.
Look at the problems in the Black community. It's always been like that. I talked to my friend Art the other day. He lives down Far Rockaway, man. And there was this, we used to hang out on this Beach 15th Street. So up in the 40s, not, so 15 to 40, that's how many blocks it was. There was the 40s projects. This was a place that you would hear hand grenades going off, automatic gunfire, these drug dealers fighting it out. If any ambulances would go there, they would steal the stuff in the ambulance. They would rob the EMTs. This was not the place to go. This is a Democratic-run place. Democrats run the place. Always have. So where's the goddamn representation? People who live there, when they say, okay, no bail, we're going to let you go. And no matter what color you are, you're going to go back to that community that you came from where you commit those crimes. It doesn't help people there, Like I said earlier in the show, 12% of Black people in the U.S. and they commit 54% of the crime, and that's FBI statistics, right? And that's 90% of that crime is against other Black people. So the good people who want to live in those neighborhoods and have a simple life can't because of these criminals, and they're being shoved in their face. They're not helping anybody out by letting criminals out, man. No, not at all.
No, and they have these bumper stickers that say "Stop Black on Black Crime." I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, but why put a color to it? Why not just stop crime altogether? It doesn't matter who perpetrates it on who. Stop it altogether. Who cares if it's a black guy versus a black guy, or black versus white, or white versus white?
Because this is the problem in the black community, not as much the Latino community. In the Black community, there's a sense that you're not going to get past the age of 21. And these guys live their lives like that. Like they don't care if they die, and they don't care who they kill. There's a lot of that goes on, and there's no community helping them out. There's no education system helping them out. The courts don't help them out. It's just a system, So these guys, I knew a lot of these guys in Far Rockaway, man. This one guy we called Keebler, he was, I think, 11 or 12, running the streets. His mom was a huge crackhead. His father died of drugs. He had nobody, and he would be living in these streets. We'd be out there talking about martial arts and all kinds of cool stuff, and he'd come and hang out, sometimes till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, in the summertime and whatever. So, but you say to yourself, why? Why is it like that? Why? And they say, well, it's the police. The police are making those neighborhoods unsafe. That's what they say. And granted, I've had my run-ins. There's police officers that did stuff in that neighborhood that I didn't agree with, and I turned them in too, of things I witnessed. But the majority of them, of course, you need police officers. But it's the crime that makes the neighborhoods unsafe. People don't want to move into those neighborhoods.
I disagree, Michael. I don't think it's just the crime. I think there's no family values. That's part of the problem. There's no family values in some of these lower income.
But in the Spanish community, there is. But in the black community, they've been fragmented, and there isn't.
Yeah, and that's if we can bring those values back, maybe things will turn around. But it has to go across the board. It can't just be the black community. There has to be family values in the black community, the Spanish community, the Asian community, the white community.
But you also have to look at the Muslim
community. There has to be some sort of support system. They say it takes a village to raise a village. I don't necessarily think it's responsible for you to be a parent and have your neighbors help you raise your child. But if you have good family values and your neighbors have good family values, that neighborhood is going to grow up with good quality children and will be successful.
It comes down to also geography, because in New York City and Chicago and places like that, those are the ones where black people have fragmented families. The guy will get this girl pregnant, he takes off, or he goes to jail, she's with another guy, another kid comes out. But in the South, they're way more inclined to have the family, right? Now, Spanish communities are very big into family. Same for Muslims. In fact, Muslims are huge. Muslims are not patriotic. They don't have a country. They have a religion. They have a family.
They have a religion.
Yeah, they have a family. They're very family oriented. So that's something that you can tap because it's rock solid. But the black community has been suffering because it's been institutional racism for a very long time. Back in the day,
no government support. Yeah, I agree.
Back in the day, they dressed up in suits and dresses, going to baseball games and whatever, getting into industry. And I think that there was an element out there that saw this, and they didn't want black people to be successful because this has happened through and through and through. And then bang, here comes the civil rights movement, but at the same sense, it enabled people, negatively enabled people. And I think that was the beginning of the end. Welfare corrupts. That was the oldest saying back in the day. They took a program designed for women from World War II who husbands went to war, and they took that program and put it on steroids and made it available to all kinds of people. So then you don't have to go out, you don't have to work. Then you jam people into these high rises with broken elevators and rat and cockroach infested. Yeah. They get used to living that life with gunfire and whatever. Remember Chicago in the 70s and New York in the 70s and all these places, man? They were terrible, and we're back to that again. But what's crazy? Then people were afraid of black people. Your average person didn't want to be around someone who was black because you thought they were going to victimize you. And then in the 80s, they were like, no, you can't be racist. That's racist thought. But now we're coming full circle back to that again. Now people are becoming afraid of people's skin color because there's an element of white people being attacked constantly now. And no one's talking about it but us. It
brings up the Trading Places conundrum. I don't know if y'all saw the movie Trading Places, but the beginning of the movie, the two rich white guys have the bet. Is it nature versus nurture? Who's going to do better in this, rich white man's job? So they take the poor black guy off the street and swap him with the rich white guy and put the rich white guy on the street and the poor black guy in this $1 million home. And he does better than the white guy does.
The only thing I remember about that movie is
the guy who started the bet lost the bet.
The only thing I remember. The only thing I remember from that movie is Jamie Lee Curtis's beautiful, luscious boobs.
that was pretty good.
Reminded me.
But the two older brothers started the bet. One said it's nature versus nurture. The younger brother who started the bet, he won the bet, and the older brother who believed that it wasn't nurture, it was nature. They were wrong, and If you have
DNA versus
decent
environment,
grounding,
man.
you don't have a bad community. Period.
DNA versus environment, but it comes down to the mentality of the person that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with somebody who doesn't care if they kill you and they're out of control, especially if they're young and they have a gun they just bought on the street for $50 and they don't care if they put a bullet in your head, maybe they'll do it because they don't like you. They walk past you, you look at them weird, whatever, man. It doesn't matter because they have a green light now for all these reasons. Now there's no more limitations to these types of acts.
There's no moral structure.
Anybody could be on the one guy on the subway just going home from his job on Wall Street. Dude blew his brains out for nothing. For nothing. The guy did nothing to him. So that's dangerous, man. And when you're like that, you know what? I'm out in the middle of the country and I'm just a couple miles north of a small town. There was a fight between 40 people there 2 weeks ago. And I asked my sister, I'm like, what, did you hear about that or whatever? And then, because she's worked for the court systems and stuff. And then I'm like, who is it though? Who is it? It's like, then she said, woodchucks, And then, but you have people who they don't care about who they hurt. They don't care if they stick their fist in your face or if they stab you, if they shoot you, I mean, that we're in a dangerous time. And even if you're out there, you have to be so careful and just kind of be aware of anything around you,
Yeah. It's a me, mine culture now. If you see something you want, you can go ahead and take it. I mean, where I work, it's disgusting. Since COVID happened, the amount of shoplifting is just disgusting. I mean, the heroin addicts in town will walk up to whatever they want. Usually it's copper wire in my department.
Oh, yeah.
They'll grab it. They'll take a whole full shopping cart and fill it with spools of copper wire and just walk right out the front door like they just bought it without a receipt. And we can't even stop them. I mean, we got, metal conduit. I got plastic conduit. We got 2x4s. They won't let us hit these people in the head with a 2x4, and they're stealing from us.
So what if they lock it up? What if they, I see them locking up spam.
That's what we're getting.
That's how
we're
crazy
getting that now. Or we're having to lock up the wire. We have to lock up the little, wise cams and the little things you can put around your house to watch the squirrels and the birdies. All of it's getting locked up. The only thing that doesn't that we
if
don't
they
lock
smash
up
their way in, they smash their way in, it's breaking in an entry. It's different than shoplifting. It's a heavier charge. But I see that. And you're in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is still pretty strict on the laws with things.
Well, I work in Maryland, so
illegal there.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same.
Well, Maryland, forget it. It is Maryland's liberal, unbelievable liberal armpit. Yeah, man.
Yeah. But the company itself also
because you got Baltimore
going after prosecutions right now. They're starting to come back and bring it up.
You got Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore is one of the scariest towns ever. I love Baltimore. I love to go down there, but it's like the heroin capital of the planet right now. Yeah, very dangerous.
It's too dangerous. Especially, you know what? I mean, there's racial attacks going on against white people, and then they dismiss it like it's nothing. I think it's very important because there's going to be pushback, and we're coming into some kind of stupid race war. It's been predicted by a lot of people,
Yeah, I don't think they're wrong.
But as you see, time goes on, and the only thing you can do in loss prevention in a store. Like I remember local in Ithaca, there was this store in a bad neighborhood. It was a P&C store. And then people will go in there and steal, just run out the door. The guys there made it like a sport to go run after them in the parking lot and get their stuff back. I said, one day, this guy's going to stab you, cut you with a razor blade. I mean, there are things that people will do to you. I'm from the city. I've seen all that stuff. There are things people will do to you with no problem whatsoever, without batting an eyelash,
thoughts,
and it'll change your life forever, and then so then the store eventually started saying there was the insurance companies, you can't chase people down, you can't block their path leaving the store, so there's a whole bunch of things involved. Nope. So Walmart stopped doing it, these other stores stopped doing it, and then when they come in, they steal stuff, they let it go, they charge their insurance company, and they get the money back on their insurance, and it's become this game. But some communities are like in San Francisco. They have a certain limit, like $900 or $1,000 that they can steal per day, and then they go into these small mom and pop shops that don't have the big insurance plans, because you know, an insurance game, that stuff goes up fast. You know, you start putting liability on insurance companies, they don't want to. They're like casinos; they don't want to pay out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's a gamble, and they don't want to pay out. I think Joe's been abducted.
No, I was just reading.
I see him, but he's not functioning.
He's looking at stuff. Yeah, it really is kind of disgusting. You know, it's the crime culture, and the fact that we can't stop them is pretty gross. But we were actually warned a few, maybe 3 years ago, it was like right before COVID. There was a couple of dudes who were going through all the hardware stores in the area, and if you walked up to them as an associate and asked them for help, they would offer to stab you if you didn't go away. So they told all of us, if you go up to someone and ask them for help and they say they're going to stab you, walk away. I'm like, I'm not going to walk away. I'm going to threaten the dude. I'm going to goad him into coming after me because he ain't going to stab me. But I really don't want to get into a fight with the guy under the knife, because two things are going to happen. Even if I did try to walk away and he tries to stab me, he's going to get arrested and I'm going to get fired because I didn't walk away.
That's
you know how fast things happen, man. How really fast things happen. And I've been in those situations. I've been in a lot of those situations, you know, especially in the club business back in the day. And you're dealing with people one-on-one or out of control. You know, you really have to, you got to be able to talk them down is what you got to be able to do. But some of them you can't. Some of them are unpredictable. Some of them will jab you very quickly, you know, and it's very, fighting a knife is very, you know, as a martial artist, it's not as easy as people would think. And it really comes down to luck that if you don't get cut. Because if someone's got a knife, especially if they know how to hold on to it.
So it's tough. I mean, the adrenaline kicks in.
So I mean, if someone's coming at you with a knife and they have the intent on stabbing you, you know, you've got to be able to neutralize that. And it's not such an easy thing to do because it's unpredictable. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's probably better that they stick a gun in your face. You know,
you've got to have a bigger, better weapon, you know?
Well, the best thing to do is not get in those situations to begin with, but unfortunately, when you deal with the public, you do.
All right. What's all
you're
this
dealing with the worst possible people.
Back to some real news instead of this chit chat crap. What the hell are y'all doing?
Did the guy stealing look like Joe, man? Because he's a contractor.
I got to read.
He might be visiting Maryland for some materials.
We got the good.
How far do you have to go to steal?
Yes, you don't have to go very far at all, you bunch of wackos. No, am I going to do it? It's so I see what's his name? What's that mayor's name in New York? He said he's gonna set up a food bank on the street for the he's gonna set up vendors for the people coming in from out of state to have food to eat while they're waiting to be shipped.
People coming from out of state? You mean the illegal aliens?
Yeah, and wait, he's planning on sending some of them to Chicago, by the way. So, these guys are gonna be getting shipped, and everywhere they go to get free money and free food. So
So what is Barack Obama?
So if you get on one of these buses, if you kind of just mill around the bus like you just got off and you have no ID on you, they float you with a bunch of money. They put you in a nice hotel. They do all this stuff. That sounds like a good weekend in the city, man. I could be Hector Chavez for a weekend. Si, senor.
Yeah, I don't think they're going for it.
You don't speak English.
No, I think they're not going to believe you, bud. I think they're going to be like, yeah,
just say no hablo,
bastard. And they're going to be like, who?
What if you're actually dressed up like a real alien, like a gray?
Wait, no, for something serious, I mean? And I can only touch on
another planet.
But on a serious note, I can only touch on this. So the CDC has changed its guidelines on COVID-19. Now I'm not going to say what it is because YouTube will probably ban us for talking about it. So. Even though it is the CDC, I thought about just playing the clip, and that way, if YouTube banned us, I said, "Well, no, it's the CDC. You're going to ban them now." So they have changed their guidelines, and they're quite interesting. I mean, they've relaxed They just say they relaxed a lot. There's a lot of things you're going to be surprised when you go read it, but I would just suggest everybody pop over to CDC site and read for yourself because they have definitely changed the guidelines.
Because they got this other thing going on.
And
they got the monkeypox.
Monkeypox is coming in.
Well, a lot of things that we said in the early days that would probably get them sued probably did. So that's probably why they changed a lot of them. But, it's hard in our country when you can't just go around telling people shit because sooner or later it's going to back you up and bite you in the ass. It may take a couple of years, it may take a decade, but sooner or later it's coming back. It's
These
something like
guys
this
aren't
comes like
experts
a
and stuff.
boomerang fits.
It's not like
It's
they're experts or anything.
I know it's
They're
not like they're experts.
politicians.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something right. Yeah, whatever. For some reason, somebody just sent me some B shit. But guys, there is so much craziness out there on the planet, and then we still got the Ukraine. So this has been cracking me up now. So I'm getting reports from the Ukraine from like 3 different places. So first I hear, Russia blew the living shit out of this airport. I'm like, oh man, poor Ukrainians. Then I hear the Ukrainians blew the shit out of the Russian Navy. I'm like, oh, poor Russia. I'm like, what the hell? It's like they're fighting 2 different wars over there or something, man. Or in 2 different areas. I don't know what the hell's going on. They're fighting where there's nobody at. So the Russians are waiting on Ukrainians are waiting. I don't know what the hell's going on.
People are voting for both sides.
It's and then there's Vladimir Putin. What are we going to do about Putin? I heard a couple of his retired generals say, look, right now he thinks he's winning the war. If the son of a bitch ever figures out he's not, God help us all. Because everybody figures he's only got about 6 months to a year left. They don't think he's got much longer than that. I don't know. He's an old cooter, so he might hang on longer. But
old and evil hangs in there forever.
But with his mortality coming up, and he knows it, is anyone afraid or concerned that he may be just before he dies, he hits that button and launches those weapons?
Well, that's what they said. If he thinks
I would do it.
But they said if he thinks he's winning, he probably won't do it. He's got kids and shit. But
I would do it.
If he doesn't think he's winning, he might.
You wouldn't do it.
He might. Nah, I wouldn't do it. I don't want a bunch of.
If you lost everybody you love and you're kind of sitting there, well, he's got his daughters.
I ain't being responsible for a billion people plus dead. That ain't gonna happen. But it's
Bob Avania says that Russia is going to be the major power of the future. So think about that.
Russia will never be the major power.
That's what she said.
Unless China and Russia merge.
Yeah.
And then even then, they're still going to have a hard time with the United States and Europe.
That's for sure.
Currently, right now, the U.S.
Neither one of them have a problem coming after us.
Yeah. But this is what I think is the hard part for Russia sometime and for China. With the U.S. and its allies, they control about 70% of the planet. Belongs to them. So it's hard. China has very limited resources. So if the U.S. cuts them off or starts roadblocking, or Europe starts, they'll starve to death. They'll be Stone Ages and
they control a lot of the planet, but it's useless land, swamps, and whatever stuff they can't really use at this point.
I was about to say we control most of the food.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. America, the U.S. and its allies, after World War II, controlled 85% of the world. Now they control about 72% of the world. But they still control that much, and they do control all of the Americas from top to bottom.
How's this? I'm gonna pop the bubble. So I was reading this USDA report the other day, and a lot of people are bringing their cows to slaughter that would normally be birthing cows because they can't afford the costs of producing the cows, feeding them, and doing all the stuff they need to do. Especially with fuel and everything. So because of this, meat prices are going to soar in a couple of months because you're not going to have that big resupply of cows. They also said that within 10 years, we're not going to be able to grow corn in the Midwest. It's dwindling. So we're losing the wheat, we're losing the corn, we're losing the soy. We're losing things that we need, obviously. So, and we're losing the cattle. We're headed into a food emergency. I'm going to put it around 6 months, maybe Christmas-ish, a little bit after that. We're going to see those prices unbelievably go up. But I haven't heard anything. This was USD. I haven't heard anybody in the media talk about it or anybody in the government talk about it. But it's very serious. And a lot of these little mom and pop farms have closed down. I'm in an agricultural area, and I'm seeing that over here too. They're selling the land off to build condos and that type of thing. But so we're losing. And our food supplies is the most important thing. We can't rely on other countries. Tyson Chicken is now sending their chicken to China to be processed, and they send it back. I mean, what a thing that is. North Korea processes a lot of meats. North Korea processes meats and fish for Walmart. And so I mean, people need to really think about where their food comes from. The condition of what those animals.
I can't speak for you dumb Yankees, but for people in the South, our food comes from right here.
The poison Gulf.
None of our food goes.
Your food comes from the poisonous Gulf.
No poison Gulf. I see everybody down here lives to be old. They look good. They're healthy. The only ones that have problems from eating good food, not from eating nasty food. That's what kills Southerners. It's not from any mercury. Like, see, that's what you get up north. The fish up north is contaminated. Fish in south is not. The Gulf is deep. It's 4,000
I don't
feet.
eat
It's crisp.
fish.
It's
Don't
nice
worry about
tidal
it.
water around there. Well,
I want nothing to do with it.
we eat a lot of shellfish down here, but
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The ocean is actually very
here.
mercury. The ocean's mercury heavy.
yeah,
so
it is, especially if you're
but
in the Atlantic. And then the Pacific is Fukushima heavy. So
Yeah.
we quite content. But all of our beef is local. All of our chicken is local. All of our egg, almost all of our vegetables are local. Even like stuff like avocados grows local. We have a nice temperate climate, so we don't really have to worry about the rest of the country when it comes to feeding ourselves. That's a nice plus. Plus, the food's always better because it's always fresher. It's like right here. And then on top of that, there's like a farmer's market every, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 miles. They're everywhere, man. You can get anything you want. And then there's specialty meat shops. I mean, it's just a different way of living. Because I
got 5 or 6 farmers markets around me, and then down the road on the way to work, there's a guy who's a solo butcher.
Because you're in Pittsburgh, they think they're a southern state anyway.
No, I'm 3 hours from Pittsburgh and 2 hours from Philadelphia, so I'm right in the middle of the state.
Philly, man.
Bottom.
Oh, Philly, man. Philly is like a curse word to me, man. Philly. I feel for anybody who lives in Philly.
City of brotherly love.
Yeah, no, yeah. I had quite a few. They all moved, by the way, now. I had a friend of mine, she was trying to be a nurse, and she got out of nursing school, and that's where she had to go to work because she couldn't get a job in New York. And she said, if I got to keep working here, I'm just going to quit. And she finally landed a job at New York General. And so she was doing that. And then she went, but anyway, it's a strange thing in itself. But all these, just the world just seems to be standing on the edge. I mean, China don't even know what to do with itself. I mean, Nancy Pelosi bitch slapped China. Nancy Pelosi bitch slapped China. I mean, there is no way for Xi Jinping to save face here. The only way to save face is for them to invade Taiwan. He invades Taiwan, he's got to deal with the United States, and he don't want to do that.
But will we act if they do that?
Absolutely.
You have to get Congress to.
We have no choice.
Oh no, you do not. No, not if we said we would do it.
Declaration of war.
No, it's not a declaration of war. It's a police action to save an ally from invasion. Yeah. So he can declare war. Besides, anyway, the president can declare war up to 90 days on his own. He does not need Congress. That's a misnomer, America. A president can declare war up to 90 days on his own. Then he has to get Congress to approve it. Well, after 90 days, you don't really have a choice, do you? We done started blowing the shit out of people.
If we're not directly attacked, it's a whole different thing, man. Whole different thing.
Yeah, but Taiwan is a NATO nation. If they're attacked, we're obligated by contract to go in and help.
Well, it's not even that. They have too much of our microchips in over there.
Yes and no.
Have
that too.
We're not going to
Constitution supposedly we cover them, but it's actually
Trump.
It's a big
Trump
gray
cut
area.
a deal with him. Biden backed up the deal. We've had a deal with Taiwan since Reagan, so we're not going to sell them out because we can't sell them out because of our allies. If our allies see us sell them out, that'd be like selling out an ally. They're going to be like, well, wait a minute. Now, America don't do that kind of shit. So we're not going to sell them out. What we'll do in the beginning is we'll just cut China off of everything, and we'll try it that way. But if China keeps an invasion,
obviously China hasn't invaded yet. So there's something holding them back, obviously.
Yeah, you want to know what's holding them back? Us in Europe. You know why? Because they're going to become a third world country in less than 6 months. Think about it, Mike. China's nothing without Europe and the United States money. We're what made China. When Nixon cut that deal for free trade again, we're what made China. Without our money, in China will tell you themselves, 88% of all the exports.
Big infusion. Hong Kong was signed over to them. They gave them that big infusion of money and power.
Hong Kong is American and
it matters. It matters greatly,
No,
but I mean, should never
who
happen.
ran Hong Kong? Mike, who ran Hong Kong? England. It's America and Europe's money. It's not the Chinese money. We infuse that money in there, and if we take that money back, they're screwed. It doesn't matter about Hong Kong. Hong Kong will also become a third world nation. You have
China
to have,
owns a third of our reserves, unfortunately. So I mean,
No,
there's a lot of politics there.
No, China don't own any of our reserves. First off, it's a federal crime.
They're one of the biggest holders of debt.
Holding.
They're a huge holder of debt in our federal
that's not even true either. They're a huge holder of credit card debt. Let's be specific. The majority of all
I'm
U.S.
talking about debt.
No, you're talking about credit card debt. Almost all of the debt,
like Social Security, buys bonds.
in debt too.
Social.
You know who that money
the
comes from,
Social
right?
Security Administration is the biggest debt holder, believe
Yeah,
it or
by
not.
far.
And then
Yeah.
comes
And
things like
we
China.
put our children's future in our debt. That's how we do it. And we always do that. We don't sell our debt to anybody because it obligates you. It weakens you. So we don't do it. We'll sell credit card debt and all kind of other debt all day
If
long. We don't
if you
care
want
about that because if
to
we go
enslave
bankrupt, we go
people, you do
bankrupt.
it through debt. And that
But
Thomas
we're not going to sell
Jefferson
that
said
kind of
that,
debt.
and a lot of other people.
Yeah, so we just don't do it that way. And unfortunately for China, the only person that ever and I don't know why she's not in jail for this. Hillary sold off 20% of the uranium reserves to Russia. But I did
Hillary's
find
not
out
going to
something.
jail.
I did find out something interesting about that. Russia never retrieved the uranium. Somebody put a stop to it, but nobody ever said who it was. It just was stopped. Somebody said, "Really? Wait. We're giving the guy who already has 6,000 nuclear weapons 20% of our uranium reserve? What are you, stupid?"
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there, or who put a kibosh on it. It's one of them hush hush things, but somebody put a snafu into it. And I don't know if they ever gave the money back or whatever happened with it, because it just kind of faded the way of the dinosaur. But that's right now, this is what people need to understand. The majority of all the money in the world is owned by the EU and the United States and England. That's who owns almost all the money in the world.
In there.
So if you look at it like this, so China's forecast for $11 trillion this year. We're forecast from anywhere from 22 to 30, depending on what goes on. And right now,
You got
we're
to put your
spending money out
finger
of
on the group that controls the money. It's the World Trade Organization and the IMF. Those organizations control. They control everything. They control what oranges cost in Jamaica. They control everything now.
I think
through giving
United
loans,
States
and then people and these guys move in and take control.
But the point is China and Russia control $14 trillion of the $160 trillion going around our planet. Europe and the United States control almost 100 trillion of that. It's almost impossible to go up against this. You're just going to end up bankrupt, like Russia's finding out right now. You just can't go against those odds. And China knows that Xi Jinping is not stupid like Putin. He does not want his downfall because he got his country blocked off from its food and its money and everything else. I mean, Chinese are getting used to living like Americans. And you know what happens when people get comfortable and then it gets cut off, they lose their minds.
Yep.
And they'll have a revolution inside their own country. China's he has to save face somehow.
Chinese live on 87 cents a day. And the ones that have money is a very small minority.
Well, no, it was 300 million.
Nation.
It's right now there are 480 million Chinese living just like Americans do, and that's just growing every day. As long as we keep giving them money, eventually that will be
1.4 billion people.
Yeah, but that's good because just 2 decades ago it was less than 50 million people. So they're growing at a very fast rate. It's a very dangerous rate for them and for the rest of the world. That's why Trump put the brakes on.
But they value their own currency, so that there's really no way you can put a value on their currency. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of gray areas that they put forth, and they like that because they get to play the game. And
right now they're scared. I can tell you right now,
they have a fiscal bubble that could easily burst. China does.
Yeah. Well, Xi Jinping.
And the only thing that makes them worth anything is their trade, is their manufacturing, basically.
And it's down. It's down across the board. First off, Europe cut them off during COVID, and then they cut Europe off because they didn't want anything going on in their cities. They have lost so much. I don't know if they can make up the deficit of what they've lost in the last 3 years. Even America kept making stuff and kept sending stuff out, even though we were stuck. China just locked down. And then Europe said, we don't want your stuff. It's contaminated with COVID. America said, we don't want your stuff. It's contaminated. Imports from China since Nixon to now were booming. And all of a sudden, the last 4 or 5 years, they've been just steadily declining. It started off first with poisoning the dogs. Then it started off with the contaminated baby formula. That's why we don't get it out the country hardly anymore.
The sheetrock, don't forget the sheetrock, man.
The sheetrock, the Chinese sheetrock, and then the lead painted toys. So, I mean, they just so they can't be trusted. So confidence keeps going down and down and down and down and down. So their share of the pie is getting smaller. And now, if they get stupid and go jump on a free democratic country, that's it. They're bankrupt. Nobody's going to support them because Russia don't have any money to give. See, that's the problem with communist countries. Even though Russia's not, it has no money. But none of the other communist countries have any money either. Who Venezuela's going to support them? How? North Korea is going to support them, but maybe with people. But other than that, how? Cuba can't support them. Cuba can't even hardly buy cigars anymore, man. I mean, come on.
And Cuba's so close to us, all it would take us is one bomb, and that's out of the war instantly.
It's always bothered me that we haven't annexed Cuba.
Yeah,
screw you, Russia.
90
it's in
miles.
our territorial waters. That's right. It's inside our U.S. waters.
Yeah.
It should have happened in the 50s, man. They waited too long. Or
actually, you know what, Mike? It would be easier now, dude. It would be easy now. I don't even think Raul would fight it.
Let me just tell you this.
He'd probably welcome it.
Fear
I think
rights
policy.
Statehood. Fear rights policy. So if you have something 90 miles away and you're telling people are going to put missiles there, that writes a lot of policy, that gets a lot of donations. It stimulates a lot of cash.
I would bet you. I'd bet you
$100.
I'd bet you $1,000 if you offer Raul Commonwealth, he would take it. I think he'd become a Commonwealth.
What?
He would become a Commonwealth of the United States. I think Raul would take it. I think he would say yes.
Absolutely.
His daughter's going to. His granddaughter, when she takes over, has already said she's going to seek Commonwealth status like Puerto Rico to the United States.
Right.
They want to be part of the United States. And do you know how fast Cuba's going to boom if they become that fucking boom, man? First thing I'm going to do is go down there and buy something, man, because the place is going
But
boom.
Because people will go there instead of going to Jamaica. Jamaica is actually quite dangerous. So people would go to Cuba.
Cuba's got some really nice places. My dad and them used to go to Cuba. I know that because they used to just go down and spend money and bring stuff back. But Cuba's got a lot of
I was just about to
stuff,
say, Cuba, before it became communist in the 50s and 40s and 50s, was a booming, huge vacation tour spot for America. And once that stopped, they've been living in a time capsule. They've been living in the 1950s
pretty much
for the last 50 or 60 years.
That's pretty much. That's all their technologies there. They want to become part of the United States, so it would be good for them. It would be good for us.
Mm-hmm.
We could add in some more territory.
Boats going back and forth, man.
Get some Cubanos,
ferries.
That's right, man. I'll give you a job down there for sure, man. I'll be like, hey, where's Joe? He's in Cuba. We are broadcasting live from Havana.
Be like Ricky Ricardo cosplay. Cuba.
It's actually, Jack, we ain't got that much time left, but do I think Trump's guilty? Look, Trump's as guilty as every other politician out there. Do I think they're going to get a conviction on him unless he was selling something to Putin? I don't think they're getting any conviction. I think this is just a ploy to get him out of the picture because all the polls keep showing he's going to murderize the Democrats in 2024, especially with all this other stuff. And see, this makes it even worse because if they pull this and it fails and he gets to run, it's going to be embarrassing. Democrats are going to lose everything, House, Senate, the whole 9 yards. I mean, they're going to lose the House no matter what. And it is possible that they could lose the Senate. It's only, remember, it's a 50 right now. So even one vote does them in. And another thing, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm talking about this, we should all vote. Somebody should put up a bill. There should be no bills passed in Congress unless they're bipartisan, period. So in the Senate, it should be at least 65 votes. It needs to be bipartisan because it never works for us. This bill right now is going to help a lot of Democrats get rich. Just going to spend a lot of money in a lot of places that's just not going to benefit us. Green technology is not going to be green technology for at least another 100 years, 50 at the very least. We're just not there, people. We just haven't figured it out yet. And like I said this the other day, to all my friends that own Teslas and Volts and all of those cars, remember when the earthquake comes or when the hurricane comes or the bad weather comes and you're without power for weeks. Guess what your car just became? A paperweight. Yes, it became a paperweight because it's going to just sit there. Yeah, a piggy bank. That's a good one. So that's what's going to happen. We're just not there yet. And wait, so if I want to take my 2019 Camry and drive it out there to California, it's going to take me about 35 hours. And I'm going to have to stop about 4 times for gas. If I take my friend's Tesla out there, it's going to take me 4 days. That's how often I got to stop. I'm only going to get, I think, 380 miles.
Yeah.
And then I got to charge it up to 9 to 22 hours, depending on the charging station. So, well, if I got to sit there and charge it for 9 hours, I might as well check into a hotel. So that means I'm only going to get roughly 400 miles a day. It may take me a week to get out there. I mean, we're just not there. And I like Tesla cars. I like Elon Musk, man. I'm not hating on him, but technologically, we're just not there. Electric cars are good for running around your city where there's lots of charging stations where every time you stop, you can charge it. But remember this, and this is most important. A Chevy Volt has the same carbon footprint as an 18-wheeler. Elon's Musk has about the same as two 18-wheelers because of the way they have to be built and the parts have to be, the lithium has to be strip mined from Afghanistan and then shipped to China, then shipped to Japan, then shipped to the United States. And all these other parts for these Teslas all have to be done the same way. It's expensive and it creates a big carbon footprint. Whereas most of the gas-powered cars are just put together in one spot or the other spot and that's it. And on you go about your merry way.
And also to put it in perspective, Joe, each tractor trailer, the tractor itself holds somewhere between 90 and 150 gallons of gasoline. Think about that. Yeah. If you have this vehicle that holds up to 150 gallons of gasoline in it, and this little tiny thing that can go 400 miles with electricity, and it's got a bigger footprint than that truck. Yeah.
And then there's another part of the footprint.
Fossil fuels.
It is,
and I was getting ready to say that they're using to charge these things to begin with.
So that actually increases the footprint. Because you have to use it's either going to be natural gas or coal or nuclear. That's what's going to fuel your car. So really and truly, are you helping anything? No, now you're making them pump out more coal. We don't have, windmill power sucks, and unfortunately, solar power sucks. Do you know if you leave Austin, Texas, and you're heading west, you will see these big, huge solar fields and these big, huge windmills. All of that power combined can maybe run Dallas. It cannot run the state of Texas. So that's half of the state of Texas we're talking about covered in this, and it can't run but one city.
But can it run Dallas without the sun and without the wind?
That's the thing. But at least in Texas, if there's no sun, there's usually wind. So.
Yeah, you get one or the other. So but you got to have it.
Getting lucky. Well, they said recently, I think they said by 2028 or 2030, they will be able to produce enough electricity for the whole state. But they still don't consider it to be, they don't want to try to rely on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They just want to keep building until they're, it's a double the system and then they don't have to worry
nuclear
about it.
Power. That's all.
Fission or fusion.
Yeah.
Which one?
Fusion.
Which
cold
one do you
fusion. Want? Yeah, if you can truly, I mean, right now it's still
well. So I still don't understand why we didn't go hydrogen. Hydrogen's easy to make, it's easy to store, and it's its downside? Oh, you know what it makes? It makes clean water. Oh yeah, people, that's what it gives out of its tailpipe is clean water. Water that you can actually
you wouldn't have to do too much of
drink.
It's actually a pretty minor addition to a motor, to augment it so it can burn hydrogen. So it's not much of a deal, and it comes out as vapor. So
what I thought was funny was the excuse they were given not to do it is, we're going to put these big hydrogen bombs in every neighborhood. So I got a little story for y'all. It goes way back to I think the 1910 or 1920. There was a big movement in the United States not to allow gas stations on corners because it was going to kill everybody and blow up and destroy things and burn down cities and shit. Of course, we all know that never happened because we're all still here. And I don't think I've ever even heard of a gas station exploding except on television.
In the movies.
They usually have arresters that keep that shit from happening. So hydrogen's in the same way. With hydrogen, they would just have bleed-off valves to keep anything from going on like that. So clear, and hydrogen actually it just doesn't explode. It does need a catalyst, just in case y'all didn't know that. But anyway, we could have hydrogen vehicles running all over the United States, clean energy. You could use hydrogen to run your house. You could use it to run anything. And there you go. It's something easy to make. It's not expensive. It'd be easy to convert over all the plants to it and all. You could run your plants on hydrogen. We don't want to because there's no profit in hydrogen.
Because they can't put a meter on it and charge you out the wazoo for it.
Yes, it's like whatever that thing in Tesla originally invented that the government sees and still has a patent on. They had a way of beaming down electricity from space. Well, they microwave it down is what they do. It's a way of collecting energy in space. Some people thought it was solar panels, but it was something else he was using. It collects energy in space and it beams it down to a location and it creates energy. Well, there was no way to meter it. So everybody could put this little wand on their house and get free energy. But the government was like, I don't.
If we can't meter it, we don't want it.
Yeah, so it's got to be able to make money. And eventually these technologies may come back out. But Right now, not so much, but hydrogen's a good one. And but people antimatter. Yeah, I don't know about antimatter yet. Let's give that another century, okay? Just to be on the safe
Yeah,
side.
a little bit.
Antimatter and dark matter, I say let's give. Well, all right, Frankie. I do know we have pulled antimatter. Okay, as far as I know, the longest we've ever contained it was milliseconds, and I'm talking like 0.01 milliseconds or something. I know there was a supposable experiment done in England that held containment for 4 seconds. But so far, we haven't really figured out how to contain it. We figured out how to get it. We just can't figure out how to contain it yet.
And
Now,
if
if we never
antimatter
figured out how to
touches matter, you got an issue there.
you got a
You
boom.
got an explosion, yeah.
Yeah. So, we have to figure out a way to contain it and use it. See, so what you do is you take a little bit of antimatter, a little bit of matter, you just mix them together and it makes an explosion and creates power. You just got to do it on a very minute scale because anything big might
Like taking some
half the
weed and
freaking
taking some
planet.
hash, and you kind of crumble the hash and the weed, and you
Have
kind of
a
roll it up
brain
together in a
explosion.
big blunt.
Or maybe doing some Vietnam LSD or something, something like that. But
Or
regardless,
those Hunter
it's not
Biden
unbelievable energy.
cocaine cocktails.
And then they
So
talked
they declared
about
monkeypox a national emergency. You see that?
of course they did. And who can we thank for monkeypox?
Monkeys?
Yes, but where did it come from? Well, that's where AIDS came from too, wasn't it?
Africa.
What is it with the monkeys
Gay-
sending us disease?
gay
Look,
sex.
monkeys, we ain't never done you nothing. Leave us the hell alone, people. Come on.
They're our cousins.
Cousins, we're gonna have to wipe their asses out if they keep sending us diseases. Them and the bats. Oh, so America
Gay
came out
sex.
again and said, I know, America came out again and said that the Wuhan, that
God.
COVID did come from Wuhan, but it did come from the world market. Well, Europe came out and said it did come from Wuhan, but it came from the lab. They said that it was definitely some type of genetically engineered virus. So we'll see where all of that goes. And I'm sure there'll be an argument for months over that. For me, people, I have no idea, so don't hate on me. I have no idea. I do agree it came from Wuhan because
They
that seemed to be the
found polio
epicenter.
in the city.
But other
man.
than that, I don't know.
But now there's a new one in China that just sickened.
Oh no, I
35
heard about
people, and
that.
they're
Yes,
keeping
I
an eye
heard
on
about that. And there's another new one that's supposed to be even more deadly. So I don't know what to tell you.
Coming to a town near you.
I'm thinking it may be time to retire China. It may be time just to send them to another world.
Close
what,
the
though?
borders, man.
The problem is I like Chinese people, so I don't want to see nothing happen to. I'd like to see them become free people. I don't think the world realizes if China and Russia and India and the United States were all just free, and we didn't need these militaries, the world would just expand so fast. Everything would change just so quickly.
Are you saying you open borders, man?
I'm saying no government at all except for one government. I'm a one worlder, man.
A world government, a world economy, or a world monetary system would be a good idea. Hitler had that idea. He just went about it in the most idiotic and evil way you could think of. But
they're pushing globalization. That was Obama's whole thing, pushing globalization.
Yeah. Yeah,
Trump didn't want globalization.
But Obama's globalization.
He went the opposite direction to
Trump's a
being a nationalist.
Yeah, well, because first off, globalization without some power in alignment doesn't help us because everybody will just take advantage of the United States.
You need to stand on your own 2 feet. You can't rely on other countries for stuff. Look what's going on now.
But we've learned that the UN doesn't work. So we need something that's much stronger, much tighter, something that's much more controlled. And we need it so that the fact that all countries give up their militaries, everybody, including us, gives up their military, and they all answer to one military or one peacekeeping force, because you won't even need a military.
Yeah.
You won't even need a
military force to maybe prevent, alien invasion. But the problem, the reason why the UN doesn't work, the reason why NATO doesn't work, is they're only part of the planet. They're one half of the planet.
Well, just look at the Americas. The Americans seem to do they have the Americas Pact. So from North America, Central America, and South America is one big pact. Even with Venezuela and Cuba here, we still all seem to do our stuff. And there's lots of countries in here that are squirrely and strange, but somehow the Americans still do all their trading. They keep all their militaries tied and the whole 9 years. And then the U.S. reached across the world and grabbed England and said, okay, you're just like our thumb now. And then we grab Europe, and that's like our 4 fingers on that same hand, and then it's our hand over here. And it just seems to work really well. The problem for the United States and England is we can't ever break up. It's impossible now between our our economies and our militaries, there's just no way to pull us apart. It's we are one. We don't like to admit it, but we are one. We are with Canada too, and a couple other countries in the world. We're just us in the Commonwealth is really what it is. It's the United States and the rest of the English Commonwealth. Our militaries are so tangled now, and our economies are so tangled. There is no separating them without major damage to everybody involved. So we are basically one country, and we move as one country. We don't we react to the same things in the same ways and the same attitudes, whether we like the way we say it or not. We do it that way, and we all argue that we're all different because we want to be different. Australia don't want to be like the United States. United States don't want to be like England, but it's not true. We are the same, and so we can show it can be done, and it can be done in such a way that everybody can prosper that's involved. But as long as you have countries like Russia and Cuba, chocolates. It's not going to happen.
Anybody in the UK?
I like Canadian chocolates, man. Canadian chocolates are better, man.
What about Canadian chocolates shaped like a Canadian goose?
I'll tell you, man. Amelia sent me like 15 pounds of it. Tried to put. I like, Amelia, what are you trying to kill me? It's good chocolate though, man. But it's weird because they rip America off in a lot of ways. Or maybe we ripped them off. I'm not sure. But, so, with a big Kit Kat bar, I say Kit Kat. Well, they got the same thing, but it's got a different name on it. And they got we got the Snickers bar. Well, they got the same thing and the same colored wrapper and everything with the same little thing goes across it, but it's a different name. I'm like, what the hell's going on here, man? But the chocolate does taste different. I have to say that whether it's coming from Europe or whatever, it just tastes different than America does.
In food corporations, they have different licensings for different countries. So like in England, the Energizer Bunny Rabbit is really the Duracell Bunny Rabbit because, they didn't get the licensing for the Energizer there. They voted it out. It was a Duracell. So if you're over there, you'll see the Duracell Bunny, but yet here it's the Energizer. So it's like stuff like that. They're normally all the same company anyway, but they have different licensing agreements with different governments. But Canada, they're like China. They steal everything from us.
Leave them poor people alone in Canada. We love our Canadians. we just consider Canada.
Angry. The women up there are angry. They're really angry.
They're violent.
That's why they got those whomping sticks.
Caging their men up and stuff.
They got those whomping sticks, man.
Did y'all know this, ladies and gentlemen? If you're an American, I bet y'all don't know this. Yes, they lock their men up in cages. They lock them down and stuff against their will. I mean, it's make them do things that they want, especially sexually. I don't know, winters, man. It's scary up there. Yeah. Can you be locked? Can you imagine being locked in a cage and having some woman make you do all these things to her? I don't know, man. It's scary.
Most of the women there idle and bitchy. You have to admit. They idle and bitchy. You know what I mean? You don't need to have
Joel said he's moving to Canada, man. How did he get there? He's sneaking over the border, huh, Joel? He's going over the border, man. Oh, Jesus. No, we got to go. We if y'all got any questions before we go, that's cool, but we ain't got that much time. We've already run over a little bit. Again, do I think Trump's going to jail? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, he's supposedly been going to jail. I did heard he took the fifth in the New York case. The DA was, and he said, I'd take the fifth. And the DA was like,
yeah, shot in the foot.
But what do you mean take the what? The what? There's no such thing as a fifth, Mr. Trump. You're crazy. No, there is a thing called the fifth. And guess what? I just took it. I don't know. I mean,
I don't feel bad for any of them. Even Anne Hesh is dead, and she's driving through a neighborhood all drunk and coked up, man.
Well, yeah, my wife said that video was wicked. She was cruising. Yeah,
very outspoken.
When she was watching the video, she was cruising through there.
Conservative values she was, but just another limousine liberal, and it's just like she died at her own hand. She didn't die from cancer. She didn't die from anything else. She wasn't killed. She's just overprivileged. And just like that Griner in Russia, the only reason why she's getting the attention is because she's overprivileged. They're knocking, everybody here in America, you haven't gotten behind her, and you're all racist, and you hate lesbians, you hate women, all these other things that they're saying about.
My problem is don't we have
people say she brought smuggled drugs into Russia. You know what? She's worth $5 million.
So I don't know why someone hasn't sued the government saying. Go ahead.
She made $3 million from the Chinese basketball circuit that she plays in the last 2 years. So I mean, she has ties over there. She didn't need, she's just very arrogant, very one of those another person that's all this woke crap. Yep, I can do what I want. No one's going to punish me.
Black and
in the United States, yeah. But you go into Russia, you carrying drugs, man. They're going to put the screws to you. If she was nobody, if she was one of us, we'd be doing the hot squats for the 10 years or whatever. You know what I mean? They would be looking to trade criminals for us.
There
And
would be
she's
no one
okay
trying to get
with
the
them.
Asians for us.
She's okay with them trading this criminal for her.
Of course
She's
she is.
okay.
She don't want to
with
be
that.
in jail. She can't smoke her weed, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
She
well,
can't
but
be doing that.
there's also several movements of people trying to get money to donate for her to get her bail or lawyers or whatever.
See,
if she's worth $3 or
well,
$5 million,
she's already said she's guilty. She's already admitted to it. They gave her 10 years. She could be out in 4 or 5. As far as trading, people have been bringing this up. We have people in prisons far longer than she's been in them for far less than what she did. We've got
Russia's got a 90% stay in policy.
Yeah,
so almost like truth and sentencing here in the U.S. If you're a state that takes part in that program called truth and sentencing, that means you're guaranteeing at least 80-85% of the sentence is going to be served.
And I don't think Russia's going to
get federal money because
I don't think Russia's going to give her back. I don't think. They just got out the space station. They quit. They're out. They're leaving. And they're getting out of other partnerships.
They're building their own. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, they can build their ass. That may take a decade. But the thing of it is at this point, I don't know if Russia's going to be willing to give her up because we're still sending weapons. Now we're talking about sending jets to the Ukraine. It won't matter if we give the guy up. I don't think they're going to give up.
They kiboshed that idea today. And then they were talking about F-16s, and they decided not. Even the A-10, they decided not to do that. In fact, they built a special drone called a Tank Buster that specially seeks out Russian tanks and destroys them. So that's what we're sending instead of the planes.
That's cool,
which is really what
Poland,
they need.
Poland's planning on sending them 10 F-16s, and some other NATO countries planning on sending them F-16s.
Yeah, they killed off.
I don't think they care. I don't think they care what the U.S.
Take too long to train the pilots.
No, they already been trained. That's what they were talking about. No, we've had they've had Ukrainian pilots in the U.S. training now for about 3 months. So that's not really the holdup. And they've been also training in Poland and
3 months in an F-16 in a dogfight. No thanks.
Well, yeah, if you've already flown a jet, if you've flown a Soyuz-29, you're not going to need a shitload of training to fly an F-16.
But it's completely different night and day into an American cockpit.
It's not as night and day as you think. It's still got a joystick. It still has pedals. It still has switches. It's just learning where everything is on the F-16 and learning the difference in handling and learning that you only have one engine in F-16 is in the Soyuz you have two. So there are differences, but nothing because like Navy pilots, they switch between planes all the time. It's not even a big deal for them. A veteran pilot should be able to switch.
They kiboshed that idea anyway. Like I said. And they're
not the Europe ones. No. They as of today, they're still giving them the Polish people in other countries.
It's all NATO together, like we're doing it all as one.
So. But that's what I'm saying. They're not. They're separating themselves. Poland said that we're not doing enough, and whoever's doing it with them said we're not doing enough. And then you've got Taiwan sending troops.
What's the outcome? You want the Russians.
Well, Poland's
to go
nervous,
away.
dude. You got to understand. Poland used to be part of Russia. They don't want to go back to being.
And they're right
Russia.
there on the border.
They're nervous,
there.
man.
Yeah,
they're nervous at this point, and they want to make sure Ukraine wins so that they don't have to be going through this.
Anybody in that theater should be nervous.
Yeah, they should be.
People in Romania should be nervous. People all around
at this point, they're going to do what they're going to do. But it's different. If Poland gives them to us, it's not us giving them to them. It's not the same thing. Russia can get pissed, but it's not the United States sending state-of-the-art planes over there with state-of-the-art. Because remember, even NATO, the planes we get to Poland are not state-of-the-art F-16s or 14s or whatever we give them, 18s, whatever we're giving them over. They're not state-of-the-art. They're great planes and all, but they don't have our latest
F-35. They're not going to get their hands on.
No, but they're not even going to get the upgraded F-16s or the F-15
F-22s.
They're not getting any of that. No, anything that's upgraded to a certain point isn't going overseas unless it's going to like.
So the Ukraine has their HIMARS system, the advanced rocket system. Now they're building a new HIMARS, which has much longer reach, and that's Germany.
Well, they've been blowing this shit up over there. They've been blowing shit out all kind of stuff. They've got
because the HIMARS have a longer reach than the Russian artillery. So they can't reach where the HIMARS are. Plus, the HIMARS can just go anywhere. They're in the woods. They open up, boom, they fire these things, and they're out of there 10 seconds later, man. So, it's a different strategy. It's actually a combat strategy that's been used for a long time. You know what I mean? Of that kind of advanced warfare. In America, we did the same thing. right? People, the red coats march in a straight line. Here they come. The other people, man, their opposing force, the Americans, were in the trees and behind the houses and whatever. And then they
Guerrilla
got into
tactics.
guerrilla combat. That was guerrilla combat day one.
And who taught
You
us
can go
that?
back to
The
Rome. You
Indian.
can go back to all these people, man. But you know what? It's too bad. It
Came
really
to
is.
meet some savages,
But
and they showed us how to kick
But there's a
ass.
lot of things that just don't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't Russia just pummel Kiev? Like, just pummel it with missiles. Just fucking pummel it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird that these politicians are going there and meeting with Zelensky. They're walking around like nothing's going on. The whole thing is very, very strange.
That
I
is
don't
very
know.
strange.
It's not really. I mean, Putin said he only wanted to. He just wants to take over the eastern half of the country. And the real deal is he wants to
that's
bring
what he said. Now,
all of the countries
in
back
the
to
beginning,
Russia. So
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
declaration
he wanted because
was the whole
he went
Ukraine.
straight to Kyiv in the beginning.
Kyiv.
That's where he wanted Kyiv. He wanted Kyiv. That's where he wanted to go in the beginning, but he couldn't take it. He kept losing generals and losing tanks. I mean, he's lost a lot of equipment. I mean, it's
Which
going
is
to take him.
weird.
And I mean, gas prices are high right now, so he's got money to spend. But that's not going to last forever.
But
He
look
can't
at
get
look at
anything.
the outcome. The global outcome is of a weakening structure because of this war going on. It says weaken the rest of the world in a lot of different ways. The more you keep the war going on, the more it's going to weaken things until things stabilize amongst those people, and then you can have another event. I'll tell you, COVID weakened the world. This Russia thing weakened the world. If I'm going to put together a big timeline, I'm going to be very suspicious of all these movements because they all kind of coincide, and I don't believe in coincidence to a small degree.
Yes, but we got to get out of here, and it's 11:30. So everyone, I want to thank everyone for dropping by and hanging out and listening to us tonight as we talked about different things and raved about some things and wondered about other things because we don't really know. We're like y'all. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. There's just a lot of bad stuff going on in the country right now, and it's not. Well, whoever sent that earlier to me, it's not all the liberals' fault. That's not true. I mean, it's a lot of it is right now, but it's not all. I mean, some other people.
98%.
We had 8 years of Obama,
98%.
which brought the country to its knees, and we had 4 years of Trump, which got us back in the end. And here comes Biden and just unraveled everything that Trump did. I don't understand why he just didn't pick up
Obama brought Trump on.
That's and I tell all my friends all the time. Every time they tell me about Trump,
Obama brought Trump in. That's how Trump
liberals.
won.
Yeah, and I tell liberals this every day. I said, and I love to remind liberals of this: there would have been no Trump without Obama. That's all you got to remember. Obama is the reason.
It's almost like
Trump.
You can tell any lie.
Y'all went so stupid as a country.
Yeah,
your party went so stupid talking about bathrooms for 3 years that the rest of the country went, really? Is the Democrats on crack? And just voted y'all. Not only did y'all lose, y'all lost everything. I mean, y'all lost the houses. I mean, y'all hadn't had the House and the Senate for a long time under Obama. And then here comes Trump as president with the Senate. I don't know, guys. Y'all were just like asleep at the wheel. When you get on these radical agendas, you let the media, you let the crazies in your party, which is less than 10% of your party or the country for that matter, and you let the media blow them up, and then you just go along. It's not even what you want. I mean, let's be honest. How many Democrats are pro-life? That tells you right there. So it's not, the country's not moving in the directions it should be moving in. We should be moving forward. We should be moving upward. We should be keeping our allies in check. I mean, our enemies in check and our allies close by. And we should be having our economies booming. But right now, somebody said, well, the economy is booming. We had 3 million jobs this year. Okay. No, we didn't make 3 million jobs yet. That's a lie. We just sent people back to work who are out because of COVID. We have, by the way, in case y'all didn't know this, we haven't even got back to pre-numbers of COVID yet. Just so y'all know this. So every time you hear, Trump's Biden's doing so great because that's just people who are already out of work going back to work. So in case y'all didn't know this, and this is the number you need to know. Currently, there's 50 million Americans. 100 million of them are not working. 100 million. About 50 million of them are people on special disabilities or retired. The other 50 million are just Americans that are not working and not on unemployment. And
by choice.
Yeah, and by choice. So why don't they ever want to talk about the real unemployment rate, which is around 15%? Is beyond me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can ever get these people back. COVID taught people how to make money without being at work. What was that, Mike?
They show you how many people have applied for those jobs. And there'll be 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 for one job. That's real. That's real. That's what's happening today. And then when they say, "Oh no, we created 500,000 jobs," they're lying, or they're shifting the numbers. They're lying about the numbers because they're not out there. You know, maybe
And I
McDonald's, but
personally
I
look
doubt even that.
every place I go down here, it doesn't matter where there are literally hundreds of help wanted times. A lot of them are service industry, but a lot of them are other industries. They can't get help. Matter of fact, there are businesses either slowing down or closing because they just can't get the help to stay open.
I'm
So
talking
it's weird.
about white collar, make real money type of
Oh
jobs.
no,
Not
these are tech jobs. These are all kind
working
of
at a
jobs.
gas station.
No, these aren't regular gas station jobs. They don't even count those down here. Those have been filled with shit since COVID. They never did go empty
And that's
because
different than
gas
New York.
stations never
But I
closed.
see what's going on here. But the people that
So,
say that, that's not true. That say, "Oh yeah, everybody's hiring." They're not. They're
so
not.
here
That's
they
just the
are
way it
hiring
goes
bar
out there.
help and restaurant help. But do you know right now if you come in as a bartender, you're going to make $35 an hour to start plus tips. You come in as a waitress, you're going to make 20, 25 plus tips. That's making big money down here because most waitresses make at least $1,000 a week plus. So I mean, it's a different place, and now you're getting a big salary to go along with your tips, which just means it's going to be worse than us. But it's worse than that. I mean, a lot of tech companies came down here because we got Silicon Bayou, they call it, and they're having a hard time getting help, not just here but anywhere in the country. There just aren't the people. He said a lot of the people who know how to do this are not doing it. They're either doing it as an independent or retired. He said that it's just a lot of Americans just are not coming back to the workforce. They're just not coming back. And he said the bad part is it's a lot of skilled labor that's not coming back. He said, so trying to find skilled labor in a market that doesn't have any is tough. He said there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs, but most of them don't have the skills for these types of jobs. So America's in a weird situation right now. We are at a 3.6% unemployment rate as far as the country is concerned, or 3.5. I don't know. I mean, 3.5 just means nobody's on. It means everybody's employed, is what that means as far as that role goes. So, I don't know where we're going to get more help. The illegals can't do it. It's going to take them at least a decade to interface with our society because they got to learn the language. So,
artificial intelligence.
They talked about artificial intelligence just recently, and they polled most Americans are anti-AI. They are just anti, and not just us, man. Most of the world is anti. Too many sci-fi.
Are these the same people that are hooked on their telephones that never leave? With
same people, same exact people. Don't want no AI. They don't want anything that can make a decision for them. They're like, nope. Nobody. Everything's going to be Terminator, man. Sarah Connor says, "Come for you." It's just what can you do? But anyway, we got to get out of here, guys and girls. Again, thanks for everyone tuning in. Y'all stay out of trouble, and keep an eye on your politician. Keep them in line. Keep an eye on everybody right now. Yeah, keep all your eyes, man. If you're an alien, keep all 8 of your damn eyes. Keep.
How about poke them in the eye?
Yeah, I would attach like a belt to them so you always know where. Maybe a bell, but really, people pay attention.
Right now, those electronic dog collars. Those things.
That would work. One with
the dogs.
Stubborn dog collar.
But really, people, it's very dangerous in our country right now. There's a lot going on. Anytime you're weaponizing the DOJ or the FBI, and this isn't the first time we've seen this. We've seen this with Hillary and Trump before. Now we're seeing it again. So this is just dangerous. And
it's more dangerous than that because there's people out there that might hurt you because they want to, because it's been okayed by a political body. They can stab you, shoot you, whatever.
Too.
Lonnie,
so be careful. I would
be careful.
I would estimate,
discriminate and use scrutiny against others that because you never know how they're going to react or what they're going to do, no matter who they are. People have gone off the tilt of the world on this one.
Well, Lonnie, right now I would estimate 120 million.
Senseless crime.
How many people I think Trump has? 120 million easy. He had 85 million.
And if I was that guy in the subway and I saw that guy walking through naked, I get the hell out of there, go in the opposite direction that he's going, get the hell out of there as fast as possible, and tell the story later on, because you never know when someone like that, even though he's naked, he could have a knife up his butt. You whip out a knife and stab you. He had dress shoes.
I don't know what Mike is with this up there, but have you been probed lately, Mike? I mean, you're having some issues here. I'm just thinking, man.
You gotta know how people get around. If you walk around naked, you gotta keep your change somewhere.
But even if he doesn't have a weapon, he's still batshit crazy because he's walking through New York City butt-ass naked.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I can't believe that anyway. But we got to go, guys, because I got to still do archives yet tonight. So everyone, thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to come see Jay on Fridays. You can catch me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And you can catch Mike on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So come out and hang out with them. Stop by and tell the girls, hi guys, stop by and enjoy everybody. We got a lot of shows now. Get some new ones on. Guiding Echoes is now on Tuesday. A new show opening up. Y'all should go check her out. Anyway, check all the shows out. Let us know what you think. On that note, if you got any special news you want to talk about, you can always send it to me at iCarCox.net. We're here every Friday to talk about it. So, and I can see this is going to be, I can already see this is going to be like Stephanie and I when we were leading up to the first election with Trump, how much news and how crazy it was for those 18 months. I can always see this is turning out to be the same thing. So, on that note, good night and stay tuned for Spaced Out Radio.